American Comics Double Thor Comparison. Odin is envious. Synopsis. Marvel Universe 199,999. The Battle of New York. The double comparison live broadcast room is coming. The comparison figure is as good Thor. In the original world, Thor's brain is full of muscles. He doesn't know how to think, and he doesn't know his own divine power. If you think that one hammer can't do it, you can use two hammers. There is nothing that Mjolnir can't solve. But in the end, his girlfriend died, his brother died, his mother died, and his father died too. In the end, it was reduced to raising children for others. But in the same universe, in parallel timelines, Thor here knows how to think about the soul and tap the power of the god body since he was a child. He is not only the king of Asgard, but the true lord of the 9 realms, the galactic Asgardian. It is also the most powerful Avenger deservedly. Loki, if there's a brother like that, I'll take refuge with the bastard Thanos. She's Stark, I also want this kind of reliable teammate. Strange. His rune power is stronger than Sandy. Mephisto, damn, he tricked me into taking my vengeful spirit away. Wonder, God King Thor is a good man, he taught me how to become a qualified witch every night. American Comics, Double Thor Comparison. Odin is envious. 001 Double Contrast arrives. Marvel Universe, number -199,999. Time. Battle of New York. The top of the Stark building. Iron Man, who had just failed to destroy the teleporter, crashed onto the platform. While taking off his battle suit with the help of the mechanical arm on the console, he looked at Loki, who was smiling confidently not far away. One thing to say, he felt that the other party didn't look smart. Looks like he was born with his brother Thor. When Tony walked into the building, Loki immediately smiled triumphantly with the scepter in his hand. Are you here to beg for mercy? Tony pretended to be nonchalant and walked behind the bar, picked up a bottle of whiskey and said, No, on the contrary, I'm here to threaten you. Loki sneered, then you shouldn't have taken off that iron cover. As he said that, he turned and looked out the window, opened his arms, and said excitedly like a king looking at his own country. The Chitauri army is coming, and no one can stop it. Nothing can threaten me. Hearing that, Tony was even more convinced that this guy was as clueless as Thor. Even if the Chitauri take down the earth, it has nothing to do with you, a banished Asgard. Just want to be a king with this brain? Go dreaming. I've got an army. Loki yelled with irritated eyes. We have Hulk. She Stark replied. Besides, if we can't protect the earth, we will definitely avenge it. Hearing this, Loki walked over step by step, saying meaningfully, but if they're busy fighting you, how can they have time to play with me? As he said that, he showed a sinister smile, and suddenly raised his heart scepter and tapped it on Tony's chest. A crisp voice came, and Loki's smile froze on his face. No response? Puzzled, he raised his mind scepter again, and clicked on it. Mind manipulation failed again. Loki is confused. This has never failed before. Stark looked at an idiot in his eyes, and mocked. Isn't it normal for performance failures or something? Oh, it's definitely possible that the user is too stupid. Loki suddenly became angry from embarrassment. He grabbed Tony by the neck, cursed viciously, and threw him out of the top floor of the building. A mortal without armor, this height is enough to be smashed into a pulp. But in the next second, he heard a roar, and then an unknown object brushed against him and flew out. Just when Loki didn't know why, there was another whistling sound from below. Just as he was about to observe, he saw Tony Stark, who was supposed to fall to death, fly back wearing his armor, and raised his palm to point at himself. Boom! With a high-powered hand cannon, Loki screamed and flew backwards. Tony wanted to kill the culprit directly, but at this moment, he heard a unique scream of energy coming from outside the building. He looked back, and saw that ray of blue energy at the moment became intense, and then opened a huge amounts of portal in the sky. At this moment, he even saw the dark deep space opposite the portal, as well as a large number of densely packed alien troops. Tony resolutely gives up on Loki, and will meet the obstruction without any hesitation. However, at this moment, he suddenly found that the command he sent was invalid, and the armor failed. Boom! Tony fell onto the marble-tiled floor. Loki was taken aback when he saw this scene, then laughed wildly. Ha, it's God's will, Stark. This time I won. However, his smile didn't persist for a second before it turned into panic. I saw that the portal that Iron Man couldn't destroy suddenly closed at this moment. The flight controllers under the feet of the dozens of Chitauri warriors who broke through and entered the earth first failed, and everyone fell down like dumplings. What happened to this? Loki's face turned pale, and he shouted in horror. Tony was also puzzled. This scene was beyond his knowledge. At the same time! New York holy place. Ancient One looked thoughtfully at his palm, which was unable to condense the magic circle. Asgard. Feeling the completely sealed energy in his body, Odin frowned, feeling very uneasy in his heart. How many years have I not felt this kind of inability to control myself? Holy place number 2. Thanos listened to Ebony Maw's report with a serious face. Now the entire battleship is in extinguished state. All weapons and engines are locked by unknown energy. What made him even more uneasy was that he felt that his own power was also locked. Dark Dimension. Dormammu, which was tens of thousands of meters high, collapsed, and then turned into a humanoid creature wearing necromancer robes and a flaming head. He was terrified, unable to understand why he would return to his original body. Time administration TVA. The ear-piercing alarm sounded crazily, but the female judge and others found that the time branch did not appear on the monitor. This completely contradictory situation made everyone at a loss. They tried to contact Miss Time, but found that none of the devices could be used. Then, to everyone's horror, the teleportation device also failed. End of time. For the first time, Kang, the man left behind, showed a shocked face. In his field of vision, that great sacred timeline that never stops flowing froze at this moment! That is, at the moment, an incomparably magnificent and shocking voice sounded in everyone's hearts. Ding! The comparison system is on. Isolation of any form of high-energy reaction is completed, the law of banning war is formed, and absolute protection is generated. The live broadcast room was established successfully. Personnel related to the comparison character began to pull. Boom! In an instant, in the vision of countless creatures, a gigantic curtain of light was born. Its left and right. One side is surrounded by blue lightning, and the other side is intertwined with golden thunder. Oh, to Thor, haha, I am the destiny. Thor. The moment he saw the blue lightning, Loki's blue color suddenly turned pale, his face full of disbelief. At the moment he had a clear perception that it was Thor's breath, definitely not someone else. But how could that guy have such power? That was even scarier than the feeling God King Odin made him. At this moment, Loki trembled involuntarily, feeling terrified in his heart. Aside, Tony didn't disarm, although it has fallen into a deadlock. At least the defense is still there. What happened before me was terrible. It seems that there is something higher that directly changed the law. If the words in that voice are true, banning energy, banning war, protecting life from injury or death, then it is simply a real god. He doesn't believe that Thor has this kind of ability. At this time, the shocking voice sounded again. Ding. Relevant multi-universe personnel analysis is completed, and the pull is complete. You can speak freely in the chat channel. The video will randomly select 4 people to answer the questions from time to time, and there will be special rewards for successful answers. Note, including but not limited to magic, advanced technology, super ability, witchcraft, blood, magical items, artifacts, etc. At this moment, a special chat room appeared in the minds of all those who were pulled. I haven't waited for everyone to think about whether this is true or not, whether it is a conspiracy, or whether it will hurt themselves. There was a mean voice. Deadpool, X-Men Universe. Wow, I didn't expect such a miracle in the multi-universe. Goddess of Death, my little baby of death, you definitely have the qualifications to be pulled in, so talk to me, I miss you so much. Deadpool, talk, don't hide, I know you're in the chat room. Deadpool, don't abandon me, I'm your favorite. Looking at the red and black Q version of the profile picture, and the incomparably cheap words, many people feel uneasy in their hearts, and feel that a wave of spiritual pollution is coming. Fortunately, a new voice suddenly appeared at this time. Hela Odinson, 199,999 Universe, shut up. Where did the rude people come from? Dare to blaspheme me. Deadpool, what are you? Hela, be bold. When I break through the seal, I will definitely burn your soul with the fire of death for 10,000 years. Ancient One, 199,999 Universe. Daughter of Odin, you misunderstood. This goddess of death is not you. I think this should be the goddess of death, one of the 5 gods. You're right about one thing though, it's blasphemy. Odin, 19, Ancient One Magician, what do you think of the current situation? That one. Have you contacted that one? Ancient One, unable to contact, all power has been sealed. But, Eternal God, are you there? However, there was no response. Most of the members in the chat room seemed to be in a state of shock, or were shocked by the information from the 2 big shots, or were secretly observing. The chat went blank for a short while, but in the next second, a carefree voice sounded. Thor, 19, Father. What's happening here? When will I have an extra sister? And there seems to be something wrong with Mjolnir. I can't use any of my strength. Hela, a fool bound by a hammer. Thor, how dare you insult me? I will fight you. Hela, hey, even more stupid tilde. Mephisto, Dimension of Hell. TSK. Odin, your family seems to be in trouble. Do you want me to fix it for you? Don't worry, you can sign a contract. You know that I am innocent and never lie. Odin, I'll be waiting for you under the world tree. Those who don't come are trash. Dormammu, Dark Dimension, the statement in advance is definitely not fanning the flames. If it is me, I can't bear it. Mephisto, why don't you FK him? Mystery, Limbo Prison, Hell Boundary, how dare this red mouse? His strength will be suppressed to level Godfather when he enters the dimension of reality. Maybe he will be nailed to the world tree by Gungnir and turned into dried bacon. The top floor of the Stark building. Sweat was dripping from Tony's forehead. The amount of information in just 10 seconds is really too much. The goddess of death. The eternal god. and the Lord of Hell also appeared. Is the world so dangerous? Under the shock, he even forgot about the weird live broadcast room. SHIELD. Nick Fury is numb. In contrast, the alien army that is about to invade is not worthy of lifting shoes. If an enemy of this level really invades the Earth, how should we defend it? For a moment, he thought of what the magnificent voice said. The rewards for answering questions are extremely rich. Perhaps this is the only way to protect the Earth. 838 Universe. Richard, one of the Fantastic Four, frowned. Most of the characters that just appeared were from the 199,999 universe with a huge number. He didn't understand why people from the 838 universe would be pulled into the chat room. In the meeting room, Black Bolt King and others were also pulled into the chat room. And at this moment, a new change interrupted everyone's thinking. Ding. Content loading is complete. The person for comparison is 199,999 Universe Thor Odinson. Play countdown. 9.8.7. In an instant, the screen surrounded by blue lightning lights up in the sky, while the screen interspersed with golden thunder dims down. Chat room. Thor. Ha ha ha, idiot Hela. See, I am indeed the destiny. He didn't know why it was him, and he didn't know what kind of things would be broadcast. Anyway, with so many people in the universe, it must be very special for me to be chosen. Then I must blow it up hard, and mock that shrewd woman. By the way, in the dimensional fragments, Hela is indeed a bit confused. In just a few words, she could see that this younger brother whom she had never seen before was an absolute idiot and weakling, so she couldn't understand how such a person could be chosen. At this moment, everyone who knew Thor was excited, angry, but more puzzled. It was at this moment that the countdown reached 0. A clear picture appears on the large screen surrounded by blue. 003 Loki, I'm a professional at stabbing. The stars are shining. The illusory shadow of the world tree in the lower dimension of reality is looming in the universe, and on its topmost layer, a pearl blooms with dazzling brilliance. That's God's domain. Asgard. Richard, Universe 838. What a miracle. A whole continent with life can actually float directly in the deep space of the universe. This is completely contrary to the way the planet operates. It seems to be a force completely different from technology. King of Dwarf, 199,999 Universe. Human beings, that is the domain of the gods. Resisting the cosmic environment is just the lowest function, and you have too little experience. High Priest Heshor, 19. Hey, this is also worth bragging about. Does the Ezra Protoss care about their dogs? King of Dwarf, arrogant sovereign, you are just a secondary species created by the highest evolution. What are you proud of? Agatha, dirty dwarf, you never know what beauty is. Dwarf King, definitely the incandescent Death Star fire and tons of crushing hammer. Agatha, low level. Deadpool, fight. Fight. Agatha, go away, bitch. The Illuminati. Richard's mouth twitched. He was just expressing his special power, but he didn't expect to become a master of rhythm. People from another universe are too easy to rage. The top floor of the Stark building. Tony looked at Loki in surprise and said, no, has the universe always been so disharmonious? Loki's face was still a little pale, but he still regained some of the grace of a higher race. He pretended to be disdainful. Although there are battles, it's just the sovereign's arrogance here. Don't you bother to talk to her without looking at Father Odin? Tony nodded, not paying attention to the quarrel in the chat room, and continued to look at the screen. As the camera zooms in, the phantom of the world tree disappears and is replaced by huge and resplendent buildings. You can vaguely see the rune flashing on it, and in the center of Asgard, a 10,000 meter high building exudes amazing divine power. However, the camera didn't stop here, and the scene soon came to a small island that looked like an orchard. In the woods, two children seem to be playing around. A strong man with blonde hair and a cheerful personality. The other is a little thin, with black hair, and looks a little restrained. The off-screen Avengers instantly recognize Thor. Without it, that clear and silly smile and eyes are not as natural as the second person can do. Thor, Stark, see, I was so handsome when I was a kid. Loki, idiot, you laugh as stupidly as any canine creature on Earth called a husky. Hela, I agree. Thor, you're just jealous of me. Asgard. A rare scowl appeared on Odin's face. 3 children, 3 problem children. It's so hard. Boom. The young Thor throws his back directly to Loki, then laughs loudly. Brother, your body is too bad. You are not a qualified Asgard. Magic is something only women can learn. As he spoke, he raised his arm and showed off his muscles. The haze in Loki's eyes flashed away, but a smile that looked a little inferior appeared on his face and said, my mother said that it is better for me to learn spells. Ability does not lie in strength. Hearing this, Thor curled his lips, not daring to speak ill of his mother, but he still looks down on magic in his heart. That shit doesn't seem to have any power at all, and I won't go back to study in my life. He ignores Loki and starts to train his muscles dully. Tony Stark, 199,999 Universe, as expected of you. The hottest male lead, who knows how to replace brains with muscles since he was a child. Thor. Well, be jealous. Weak human chick. Day to day. Thor is very diligent. He exercises his body every day and learns fighting skills. However, I don't care about Asgard's runes, knowledge of the universe, and the original cultural courses. When I study, I sleep. That night, Thor, who had just finished exercising, was lying on the grass panting heavily, looking at the Milky Way in the sky. I feel my body recovering a little bit. He enjoys this feeling very much. But at this moment, Thor suddenly heard a whistling sound. He turned his head and saw that it was a green emerald python, and immediately got up happily! He likes snakes the most. But just as Thor grabbed the python, a strange laughter suddenly came from the snake's mouth. This is me. The giant python suddenly turned into Loki, and then stabbed Thor in the abdomen with the dagger in his hand. Thor, ha ha ha, just to make everyone laugh. This is just me and Loki fighting when we were young. In fact, I already found out it was him. In an instant, countless people in the chat room showed question mark faces. Is this a joke? All left up buttocks. Okay. Oh for another Thor. The top floor of the Stark building. Tony looked at Loki curiously and asked, "Did you do it on purpose, or by accident?" Loki sneered, "Definitely on purpose. Anyway, the Protoss has a strong physique. Since I can't kill him, I don't want him to urinate blood." Tony's kidneys go cold and he can't understand why Loki has hated Thor so much since he was a kid. Although this stuff is really annoying. At this moment, someone suddenly spoke in the chat room. "President Loki, the Void, bastard, you deserve a stab in the heart." Thor, who are you? Why impersonate Loki? Loki, who the hell are you? Mobius, Quantum Realm, he is just a person who should not appear, and you don't need to care. Richard, Quantum Realm? TSK, I didn't expect there to be life in it, and it was related to Thor. President Loki, these lackeys are related to everyone. He is an agent of the Time Administration. Oh, you should not know what the Time Administration is. Mobius, shut up. Say no more. Inside the holy place number 2! Thanos narrowed his eyes slightly. Time Administration? I have never heard of this organization even though I have traversed the universe. Could it be that there is really an organization that manages time? Then how powerful this organization must be? He was a little uneasy. TVA. Mobius' face was very ugly. It's not just fear of that President Loki telling secrets. He was even more puzzled at the moment. Shouldn't the cut-off people disappear completely? Why is President Loki still alive? Where is the land of nothingness? Asgard. Odin frowned. Although it is said that Loki is only an adopted child, but there is only one, and the other party didn't mark other universes, so where did the President Loki come from? New York Holy Place. Ancient One sighed. As an Asgardian from Time Gem, she knew about the group. It's just that it is so exposed to the world today, and I don't know what kind of future it will bring. Chatroom. Just when many people are waiting for that President Loki to tell the secret of this Time Administration. Female judge, Quantum Realm. President Loki, don't think that the Void is an illegal place. If you dare to reveal the secret, I will send someone to kill you completely. President Loki, Ebony Moore, don't be afraid Loki, Master will support you. President Loki, what is Thanos? Do you want me to say it? I won't say it, if you want to kill me, garbage. Holy place number 2. Thanos' face was terribly gloomy. Just now he instructed Ebony Moore to speak, but in the end he got this answer. But what made him angry was not that President Loki dared to contradict him, but rather, it is clear, President Loki is afraid of the female judge, not himself. This shows that the power of that organization is definitely more terrifying than itself. This is definitely not good news. 838 Universe, Illuminati, Secret. Another secret. Professor X's face was a little ugly. As the relevant person who was pulled into the chat room, obviously, my own universe will intersect with this 199,999 universe in the future. And secrets mean danger. A danger that could be even more terrifying than Thanos. New York. Somewhere on the roof, Black Widow and Hawkeye glanced at each other, both seeing shock in each other's eyes. They thought resisting aliens was F-King sci-fi. But now it seems that this is a trivial matter. This world is far more terrifying than I imagined. Just as countless people were thinking, the light curtain in the sky changed. The screen surrounded by blue flashes dimmed, and golden lightning lit up from the crisscross screen. Number 199,999 Universe, Parallel Timeline. Asgard. Continents floating in the universe. Huge amounts of temples. The camera didn't stop until it came to a forest. Looking down from a high altitude, two figures can be vaguely seen sitting quietly on the tablecloth, surrounded by various delicacies and juices. Left over. Kang's eyes were full of puzzlement. The time flow should not only have branches. Why do parallel timelines appear? Could it be that there are secrets in the time stream that I have never understood? Chatroom. Thor, is this the other me? Why are you sitting on the ground and not exercising? What a waste of my body. Loki, this is a normal person, right? Who knows muscle every day like you. Muscle. Still muscle. On the top floor of the Avengers Tower, Loki at the moment is full of envy, food, wine, quiet picnic. This is the life a prince should live, instead of being pulled up and wrestled by a barbarian while resting. But just then, as the camera zooms in, a black-haired girl in a dark green dress appears in the camera. She sits cross-legged on the ground, seemingly meditating. But in the next second, the girl suddenly opened a pair of smart eyes, then sighed a long time, and fell backwards on the grass, so tired, so boring. Who is this him? At this moment, Thor, Loki, and Odin showed confused expressions at the same time. At this moment, the blonde Thor put down the book in his hand, glanced at the girl lightly and said, "You are too slack, Liu Oji." Thor, Loki, female Loki, exclamation mark. Loki, how is this possible? I am an upright man, question mark. President Loki, what's all the fuss about a female Loki? I've seen several of them. Shouldn't you be focusing on another point now? Has no one noticed that Thor is actually reading a book? Question mark. Natasha Romanoff, Universe 199,999, what a strange thing, female Loki is? Question mark. Loki, you don't understand human beings. For Thor, all words have hypnotic ability effects, and his brain can't accommodate them at all. Thor, you're slandering me again, sister. I'm just bored. Loki, go. Ding. The screen suddenly froze at this moment. The next second, the shocking voice sounded again. Trigger question. May I ask what book Thor Odinson is reading? A. Valkyrie Adventures on Earth. B. Cosmic Gladiator. C. Elementary Level Looney Runes. D. Chronicles of Asgard. Respondents are randomly selected. After the selection, the respondents for this question are Caecilius, Gamera, Loki, Wanda Maximoff. 005. The answer that shocked everyone. Top of the Stark building. Hearing that he was selected to answer the question, Loki's eyes lit up. Good guy, isn't this a sub-question? As Thor's brother since he was a child, he can't know what kind of guy this guy is and what he likes. He doesn't care who the other lucky ones are. He doesn't hesitate to answer. Ding. Loki has selected answer A, Valkyrie Earth Adventure. Chat room. Loki, haha, Thor has liked Valkyrie since childhood, and even imagined that he could become one of them. This is definitely the correct answer. Thor, fart. I just respect them, don't talk about it. Sif, 199,999 Universe, I just said how Thor likes to read. I didn't expect to let you take advantage of it. Loki, this is wisdom. Inside holy place number 2. Gamera looked disappointed. I didn't expect to lose the opportunity after hesitation. But at this moment Thanos sitting on the throne suddenly said, the Thor in front of me has deep and calm eyes, and he doesn't look like the same fool as before. So, Loki may not be right. Gamera's eyes lit up, and he said, then I should choose that, father. She felt that what Thanos said was very reasonable, and she looked forward to the correct choice from the other party. After all, that reward may be the power to kill the opponent in the future. Thanos thought for a moment and said, the Chronicles of Asgard may look good, in keeping with this Thor's temperament. Gamera nodded. Ding. Gamera has chosen answer D, the Chronicles of Asgard. Camartage. Caecilius regretted thinking too much and being taken over by others. Quickly go through the information observed before and choose the one that seems reliable among the remaining two. Ding. Caecilius chose answer B, Cosmic Gladiator. In his opinion, the Protoss, who are full of muscles and love to fight, might like this kind of cosmic blood warrior novel. And even if it wasn't right, it couldn't be the elementary level Looney Rune. At this time, Ding. Wanda chooses answer C, elementary level Looney Runes. Hearing this choice, many people who knew Thor and his nature couldn't help laughing. Thor learning the Looney Runes? That's more outrageous than giants of Jotunheim's fondness for bathing in lava pools in the Firelands. The lucky one who was selected to answer the question at the end was really unlucky. C is the last remaining answer, and the other party can only choose this. At this moment, everyone quietly waited for the answer result. After all the respondents have chosen, the answers will be announced. The answer to this question is C, elementary level Looney Rune. Congratulations to Wanda for answering correctly. Analyzing rewards. Analysis complete. Reward, break the magic shackles. The top floor of the Stark building. Tony watched as Loki's expression changed from a confident smile. The shocked expression froze. Unbelievable. Then to impotent rage. In the end, his face turned pale with anger, and he kept shouting, liars, all liars. Tony couldn't help shaking his head. TSK. So pathetic. TVA. Mobius was shocked. He has seen 1,000 Thors. However, read the rune book. Sorry, not mocking. He really didn't see any of them. But I didn't expect to open my eyes today. Asgard, the queen, Frigga, was at a loss. This is his own child, learning Looney Runes by himself? On the witch. This is not wrong, right? One of the Siberian Hydra bases. Wanda was stunned. She didn't even know why she was pulled into the chat room, and then selected to answer the question. In the end, I chose the remaining one, and it turned out to be right. What's the situation? Moreover, after the reward turned into a golden light and fell on her, Now she can feel something cold flowing in her body. It's amazing. At this time, the chat room became lively again. Loki, impossible. Absolutely impossible. How could Thor, a simple-minded fellow, read the rune book? This must be fake. Sif, to put it bluntly, it's unbelievable. President Loki, this Thor must be insane. Thor, HMPH. What's the use of this shit? The other, I really can't understand the essence of power. Hela, you really are trash. Asgard. Odin sighed inwardly. It seems that the last trial still hasn't changed Thor's self-confidence. Is it true that this child will not grow until he dies? At this moment, he suddenly wanted to know what the future of Thor who learned Looni's runes would look like. At this time, a new person suddenly spoke in the chat room. Agatha, 199,999 Universe. Do you like to quarrel? Didn't anyone notice that missing wand reward? Caecilius, just a lucky witch. Frig, no. Breaking the shackles of magic power. This is a situation that only happens to born witches with special and powerful magic power. This should be the most suitable reward for the person. As soon as these words came out, many quick-minded people immediately understood one thing. The analysis reward is probably more powerful than expected, and it is likely that the most suitable reward will be given to those who answer correctly. At this moment, even an existence like Mephisto trembled in his heart. A small town somewhere in northern Europe. Agatha, the successful witch, narrowed her eyes slightly. That wonder might be a good food. At this time, the screen that was frozen due to answering the questions began to flow again. 006 shocking ability to cast spells! In the oak forest that can survive for thousands of years, Thor looked at the girl still lying on the ground and shook his head slightly, then asked suddenly, have you learned the Cassili shape-shifting technique, fire tricks, and weak light manipulation that your mother taught you 10 days ago? Liu Oji, who was lying on the ground enjoying herself, suddenly froze, then sat up abruptly and picked up a glass of juice. The girl sips and drinks, and says with a guilty conscience, that just soon. Thor glanced sideways, and said lightly, yes, or not. The words were very calm, but Liu Oji's eyelids twitched, and then her face collapsed and she whispered, won't. Thor sighs, can the simplest flame trick be released with difficulty? Liu Oji nearly buried her head in her chest. She shook her head and made a little noise. I won't. Thor, can weak light manipulation create a little light? Okay, I don't even have an answer this time. Deadpool, ha ha ha, it turned out to be an idiot girl. Loki, 3 spells a week, it's normal if you can't learn them. You don't have common sense about magic. Magician Wang, 199,999 Universe. This Loki is really good. Whether it is arcane, magic, or witchcraft, it is not easy to control. The requirements of Thor are too high. Deadpool, so Loki, how long did it take you to learn these 3 spells? Loki, this Thor is also an idiot. He doesn't understand how difficult it is to learn spells. Deadpool, how long have you been using it? Loki, the fire trick is okay, and the Cassili shape-shifting technique is actually not easy at all. Deadpool, how long have you been using it? Loki: will you please go away? I don't know you. Why answer? Thor, haha, I know that. Except for the fire trick, Loki doesn't know the other 2 at all. Deadpool, ? In the Stark building, Loki nearly vomited blood. Is there any brother like this? Keep exposing your own shortcoming. He quickly refuted in the chat room. Loki, correct me. It's not that I didn't learn it, but I didn't learn these 2 spells! This makes a fundamental difference. Loki, say no more. What qualifications do you have to say about me, a fool who doesn't know any spells? The same is true for the other Thor. Why question Liu Oji? Deadpool, someone is in a hurry. I won't say who it is. Loki, who are you? Dare you come to Asgard? Thor, brother, have you forgotten that you have now defected? Inside the building, Tony looked at Loki, who was about to vomit blood, with sympathy. This guy's face turns pale, blue, and purple. It's a pity not to be a joker in the circus. But there is one thing to say, it is really difficult to have a brother with a big nerve like Thor. He kind of understood why Loki had fled Asgard. Mottled light spots hit the girl's face. Thor's mouth moved, but he didn't say any serious words after all. He sighed inwardly, and then said loudly, sit up straight. Liu Oji trembled suddenly, then sat up straight suddenly. Her small face was full of tension, as if she was waiting for training. But in the next second, she heard her eldest brother's tone soften. Tell me, I don't understand these 3 spells, Thor asked seriously. Liu Oji's tense heart immediately relaxed, and then said embarrassingly, that actually, I don't understand the 3 of them very well. I forgot some spellcasting principles the next day after my mother taught me. There was an imperceptible twitch on Thor's face, and then he said expressionlessly, then I'll start from the first shape-shifting and cover it up for you again. As he spoke, he stretched out his right hand and flicked lightly, and suddenly a faint thunder burst from his fingertips and hit an acorn. The next second, a strange scene appeared. The fruit quickly deformed, and then turned into a squirrel and quickly climbed to the side oak tree, very agile. Thor, see, I can also learn spells. Loki : I must be under an illusion. Magician Wang: such an exquisite spellcasting, no traces can be seen. Fandral, warrior of Asgard, universe 199,999. Further Odin: this is even more unbelievable than Loki lifting Mjolnir. It wasn't just him at this moment, everyone in Asgard opened their mouths. But that's not all. The next second Thor stretched out his hand, and the squirrel exploded, turning into miniature fireworks that exploded. For a while, the forest seemed to be as wonderful and beautiful as a dream, and Liu Oji's eyes were blurred. Until more than 10 seconds passed, Liu Oji was awakened suddenly by Thor's mouth. Don't be in a daze. Pay attention to the elementary light manipulation spell below, and perceive how I use my divine power. Know that it is the key to phantom magic in the future. If you can't learn the 3 advanced spells of light manipulation, elementary, middle, and advanced, your phantom magic will be very weak in the future, and you can only change yourself instead of creating an illusion comparable to Asgard. The two are so different. Speaking, Thor spread out his palms. The surrounding lights and shadows began to flicker in an instant, and the surrounding scene became distorted. Asgard. Odin's one eye widened, completely shocked by Thor's 3 spells at this moment. Is this still my son who is full of muscles? It's unbelievable. 007 Loki. This Thor's body must be very fragile. Under the oak forest, Liu Oji looked at the changing and flickering scenes around her with a dull expression. If she remembers correctly, Thor listened to his mother's teaching with himself. As a result, I almost forgot all the steps of casting spells after 10 days, but the other party completely controlled these 3 spells. Although based on past experience, Thor can always learn various powers, but now it seems to be getting more and more outrageous. Monster, Liu Oji complained in her heart, and then began to carefully observe the transformation of energy. Chatroom. King Dwarf: I didn't expect Prince Thor to have such a powerful ability to cast spells. He is worthy of the heirs of Protoss. Magician Wang: learn these 3 spells within 10 days. This ability is also top-notch in Camartage. Mephisto: TSK. Odin, you have given birth to a good son. Would you like to trade some hell magic with me? I can give you a 30% discount. Frigg. Despicable devil, the soul of those who use your spells may no longer belong to them. Mephisto: it's too outsider, that's someone else. With such a good relationship, how could I charge Prince Thor's interest? Sif. Humphrey: as an Asgardian of the 9 realms, do you think Asgard will lack spells? What a stupid devil. Mephisto: no shortage, except for the rags Frigga brought from the witch forest. Do you think there are really many powerful high-level secrets and spells in Asgard? Some bald girl doesn't allow that stuff to come out of Camartage. Ancient One: so the dignified Lord of Hell also likes to hear rumors. Odin God King never cared about collecting arcana and spells, because Asgard's runes of Lnir are also very powerful. Besides, if Mr. Thor wants to come to Camartage to learn his spells, I welcome it. Dormammu: oh, hypocrisy. In reality, Thor saw so many people arguing about himself, his brows were filled with joy. He likes this feeling of being the protagonist, which is great. But the next second, Loki: I laughed so hard. Are you guys doing something wrong? It's that Thor of the Golden Thunder who has the ability, not my stupid brother. The Lnir runes were written on parchment, and he couldn't even read them anyway. As soon as these words came out, the chat room was completely silent. Everyone who just talked about it had an idea at the same time. It seems like this tilde. While on the coast, Thor also froze for a moment, and muttered to himself with a confused look. I was slapped in the face by me? No, isn't that Thor? But I'm Thor too. Hiss, my head is so itchy. Under the tree, Thor patiently and carefully taught Liu Oji again, and Thor picked up the elementary level Lnir rune again. From a certain point of view, the Lnir rune is the root of Asgard. Although it is obviously more difficult than learning spells, he feels that as the eldest prince of Asgard, he must learn it. When he grows up, he will share the pressure for his father, and Liu Oji's ability is in a mess, so it should be hopeless. Off-screen, waves rose in Odin's heart. That Thor in another timeline could have this thought moved him deeply. At the same time, it also made him feel envious involuntarily. He didn't ask Thor to have such a powerful learning ability, it is Asgard's blessing to have this kind of thought. Inside the Stark mansion, Loki's face twitched. What his ability is a mess, who is mapped. Also share the pressure for the father. Isn't it the spell ability? But the combat power may not be as powerful as Thor, the brawler who is full of muscles. When he quelled the 9 Realms rebellion, he had seen Thor hummer a spellcaster. What shields and spells are completely worthless. Being close is death. Although this freak Thor has good spellcasting ability, he gave up his divine body. Loki sneered a little. In his opinion, this is also stupid. Night. After eating, Thor meditated for an hour before leaving the palace where he lived. He follows the Bifrost and comes to Heimdall. The sword-wielding warrior opens his eyes. There is no unnecessary communication at all. Heimdall has become accustomed to it. The next second he turned the long sword in his hand, and Bifrost immediately activated. Suddenly, a burst of colorful energy engulfs Thor and shuttles rapidly through the universe, approaching a huge and desolate planet far away. Tony looked puzzled. Without Jarvis analysis, He could tell at a glance that it was a lifeless planet, and there are several huge amounts of plaques on it. There is no doubt that it is a terrible storm. Coupled with the volume of the planet that is several times larger than Jupiter, the gravity is probably 10 times that of the Earth. He doesn't understand why Thor has to go to this kind of death. At this moment, it's not just Tony who has this question. Almost all the viewers outside the light screen don't understand what Thor is going to do. Loki sneered. He thought that this Thor must have some dark secret. Otherwise, why come to such a bad planet? Next moment, boom, rainbow ball pierces through the terrifying storm and descends on the dry land. Thor came out from inside. He completely ignored the terrifying hurricane and the terrible gravity, and walked in one direction with a blank face, until ... he came to a huge boulder, and then showed a satisfied smile. This file size is just right. The next second, Thor hugged the corners of the boulder tightly with both arms, and directly lifted the boulder up! Then, he held up the boulder like this, and began to exercise on this planet full of hurricanes and 10 times heavier than Asgard's gravity. Off-screen, Loki opened his mouth wide, eyes full of shock. At this moment, there is only one thought in his mind. That is, FK. This works too? 008 Stupid Rocky, have you really succeeded? Loki stared at the scene in shock. Fortunately, he thought that the other party was an idiot obsessed with casting spells before, but he was slapped in the face when he turned around. He never expected that this Thor, who has top-level spellcasting ability, would be so terrifying to exercise. No, it should be said that he is really cruel to himself. Terrifying hurricane, more than 10 times the gravity, and holding boulders. Not to mention that you can't breathe on this kind of planet, you can only use divine power to maintain it. This is just crazy. Chat room. Drax, Universe 199,999, ha, this is the real man! Hela, yes, this Thor is interesting. Thor, my blood boils watching it. If only I could have thought of that in the first place. Loki, do you have that brain? Thor, I just don't want to think about it. Tony Stark, I believe it. Thor, you still understand me. Tony, Sif, Thor's childhood training was also very hard, not much easier than this extreme method. In Asgard, Sif quickly changed the subject, trying to skip this passage. Her method works. Caecilius, the physique of the Protoss is really unique, and other races do not have the opportunity to train like this. Steve Rogers, no, it's not just physical strength. In my opinion this Thor's will is even more amazing. Collector, the Void, exactly. Exercise in such a harsh environment, even with the physique of the Protoss, at such an immature age. I am afraid that if he relaxes, he may be injured. Odin, I offer 1 billion common currency to buy Thor's body after death. Although not in the same timeline, it is still a body worthy of collection. Thor, I refuse. It sounds too perverted. Father, if I die, you must remember to bury me under the world tree and don't sell it to him. Asgard. Odin's forehead twitched. Not to mention that your father seems to care about money so much. You said where you buried yourself, not waiting for others to dig your grave. He felt that he should give Thor another trial, this time to exercise his IQ. Day after day, more than a year has passed. Thor sometimes learns the Lnir runes during the day, and sometimes learns to fight with Heimdall. Definitely. Sometimes I will also teach the stupid Liu Ojib by the way. As for the night, he will go to that planet to train his body to the limit every day without any doubt. Perhaps because of the need to use divine power to resist the environment, his body is not that exaggerated muscular type, but the lines are more obvious. Another day, Thor returns to the palace where he lives in the middle of the night, and he usually meditates in the second half of the night. It's not to exercise magic power, but to feel the divine power in the body. That is a power far higher than magic power, and it can also be used to cast spells. But just as he stepped into the garden, there was a whimpering sound not far away, and then a small emerald green snake swam out from the flowers. Thor's eyes light up, as if attracted by this beautiful little snake. Thor, I bet that's what Rocky becomes. Mobius, that's right, Loki loves to play tricks no matter what timeline he's in. Loki, I'm looking forward to the next scene. In the garden, Thor stretches out his hand to catch the little snake with a smile, but the moment he touched the little snake, the other party suddenly turned into a green phantom and disappeared. At the same time, a crisp voice sounded behind Thor. Hey, brother, you have been tricked by me. Cassie's shape-shifting technique. Change for me. Liu Ojib, who was wearing a dark green cloak, reached out and pushed forward, and suddenly a dark green magic ball hit Thor's body. The next second, Thor's body collapsed quickly, and the clothes fell directly to the ground without support. Liu Ojib bends down and holds a frog under the clothes in her hand with a smile. She raised her palm, looked at the frog's eyes with a pair of smart eyes, and smiled triumphantly. How about it, Thor? I didn't expect me to master the phantom magic so quickly. I won today. Loki, well done. Sure enough, Thor is an idiot, and he can't see through the disguise at all. Thor, beautiful indeed, much more elegant than you who just poke around. But having said that, Thor feels much lighter inside. Everyone is Thor, and the opponent's picture is so good in just 10 minutes, which puts him under a lot of pressure. Now seeing that the other party was deceived just like him, the pressure suddenly became much less. Caecilius, I'm still too young. I have strength but no experience. I'm afraid I will suffer a lot in the future. Magician Wang, don't say that. Who would have thought that their own home would be in danger? Like us, Kamartage. Do you guard your fellows? Besides, this is just a joke between brothers and sisters. You are making too much of a fuss. Off the screen, Caecilius snorted coldly, with a gloomy face, and did not choose to continue talking in the chat room. New York Bund. Watching the conversation in the chat room, Thor frowned. Is there something wrong with this Caecilius? It's really annoying to meddle in his own family affairs. This swept away his relaxed mood just now. And just then, a calm voice suddenly came from behind Liu Oji. Have you really succeeded? Thor, who was frowning outside the screen, suddenly widened his eyes, showing surprise. This is ... another own voice. 009 Mephisto's seduction. Liu Oji's body suddenly becomes stiff. She turned around slowly, and found that Thor was standing behind her, looking at her calmly. How can this be? The girl couldn't help but took a few steps back. Her face was full of disbelief. I obviously turned you into a frog. As she spoke, she raised her palm, trying to prove that she really succeeded. However, at this moment, the frog turned into a green phantom and disappeared with a pop. Looking at Liu Oji's astonished expression, Thor said lightly, your phantom magic is full of loopholes. Why are you so confident? I can't see it. I said before, if you don't master light manipulation first, you don't want to use phantom magic well. Liu Oji said with a stubborn face, even if my phantom magic is average. But my shape-shifting magic hit you, otherwise how would you know that I'm going to turn you into a frog? Thor looked at the girl mercilessly with the eyes of a fool, and said speechlessly, did you forget? Shape-shifting will only turn you into a frog. Thor, haha, Loki, the other you're an idiot too. Loki, yes, it's not like another you, that's 100 times better than the original. What a good brother. Thor, well, let's watch the screen, don't disturb the others in the chat room. Loki, Hatilda. Liu Oji's expression of dissatisfaction suddenly became awkward. Is that so? Hey, it should be because I haven't slept well these days, and my memory is a bit poor. Oh, suddenly I remembered, I forgot to say good night to my mother, good night to my brother, I have to go first. Speaking of which, Liu Oji's about to run away, but in the next second, before she could take a few steps, she was hit on the back by a golden magic ball, and then turned into a green frog and fell to the ground with a croak. Then the frog seemed furious, and gave Thor a quack quack quack, as if he was complaining about something. Thor sneers, take the frog back to the bedroom and put it in a glass jar. Just stay inside tonight. You love my sister? Impossible. Frig, this kid, Liu Oji, seems to be just as naughty as the ones here. It's really nice to have such a big brother in charge. Mephisto, one was stabbed in the waist by Loki, and the other locked Loki in a glass tube. TSK, let's judge. But it doesn't matter, Thor. Do you want to learn hell spells? It's very simple. As for your concern about the soul, I can clearly sign a contract that you cannot do that. Odin, boring bewitchment, you underestimate Thor too. Thor, further don't worry, I'll just take him for a fart. In hell. Mephisto was not only not angry when he heard such an answer, but showed a weird smile. As the top hunter who plays with people's hearts, he just wants to plant a seed. At this time, the intertwined light curtain of golden thunder in the sky dimmed. The light surrounded by blue thunder lights up. Everyone immediately understood that this was returning to the original Thor. Dozens of days have passed since Loki stabbed his kidney, and Thor's injury has already fully healed. At this moment, Odin summons the two to the Asgard treasury. In front of the ice-blue casket of ancient winters, Odin told the story of the war with the giants of Jotunheim more than 10 years ago. He looked at his two sons and talked eloquently. After the defeat of the giants of Jotunheim in Norway, we became myths and legends to humans. But don't forget, God's domain brought peace to the entire universe. High Priest Agatha, oh, it turns out that King Odin thought that the giants of Jotunheim could invade the entire universe. Ronan the Accuser, HMPH, a low-level civilization that can't even get out of the planet. The Kree Empire can kill them 10 times with a backhand. Mephisto, then you underestimated the giants of Jotunheim. Their casket of ancient winters is the top treasure in the universe, which can easily freeze a planet. Dormammu, TSK, Mephisto, you are still as sinister as ever, so I am afraid that someone will covet this treasure. Mephisto, I didn't say, don't frame me. Odin, it's really a low-level method. I didn't look at the identity displayed in the chat room. I thought I had encountered a low-level lemur trying to deceive people. Deadpool, the bosses speak nicely, let's add a little more. Wolverine's grave. Deadpool found that just after he finished speaking, there was no movement in the chat room, and he was suddenly annoyed. Damn, who do you look down on? 30 years west of the Rhine, 30 years east of the Rhine. When I hug the thigh of the big sister of death again, let this group of people call daddy. At this time, inside the treasure house, after talking about this history, Odin looked at the two with deep eyes and said, "In the future, one of you will take my place to defend peace one day." At this moment Loki suddenly asked, "Are those giants of Jotunheim still alive?" Without waiting for Odin to speak, Thor on the side rushed to say, "If I were the king, I would catch all those monsters and kill them all, just like you, father." After speaking, he looked at Odin expectantly, hoping to be praised and recognized. However, Odin did not answer, but looked back and forth at the two teenagers with different expressions. After a few breaths, he suddenly said, "A wise king never initiates a fight, but he is always ready to fight." Thor suddenly excitedly said, "I'm ready." Oh, one know the secret of the year. Dimensional fragments. Hela in the seal looked at Thor's excited face, and the anger in her heart erupted like a volcano. "Once upon a time, I was so excited under the words of that man. But what about the result? Hela, never worry. This is really a big joke. Odin, you vile hypocrite! Xing Yun, the tone of these words sounds like he wants to kill his father. 199,999 Universe, Asgard people are really rubbish. Ebony Moore, such sharp words. It seems that the family conflicts of the Lord of the Nine Realms are far more intense than what outsiders have seen. He said this under the instruction of Thanos, and deliberately put the accent on the Lord of the Nine Worlds. Thanos' idea is also very simple. The messier Asgard is, the easier it is for him to get infinite gems. After all, those two guys, Odin and Ancient One, are a real problem. Deadpool, I think I smell it. Yuck, it smells like a secret. Frig, Hela, you have contributed a lot to the stability of the Nine Realms. But if you still want to come out, you better keep your mouth shut. Inside the Avengers building, Loki has a startled look on his face. It was the first time he saw his gentle mother say such words. But he understood in an instant that this must be a secret that would shake the Nine Realms. Otherwise, with his mother's character, he would never say such a thing. Hela, deadline. Frig, 100 years. You should understand how merciful this is. Hela, oh, do I need to thank you? Seika. Valkyrie. There was a deep contempt in Valkyrie's eyes. But she chose not to tell that history. Not to defend Odin. But she never wanted to be involved in that family mess again. As for Thor in the picture, she sneered. As expected of the son of Odin, who looks just like his sister and is just a piece of trash who only knows how to kill. At this time, the screen surrounded by blue lightning dimmed. The golden thunder screen lights up. In the Asgard treasure house, Odin summoned his two sons to the casket of ancient winters, and slowly told the history. However, when he said we have become legends and myths, Thor suddenly asked, "Why is this happening, father?" Liu Oji on the side looked dazed, not understanding why Thor asked like this. The Asgard warriors left Norway after defeating the giants of Jotunheim. As time went by, the humans then naturally regarded Asgard as a myth. Is Thor's brain broken today? I can't even figure it out. Many Asgardians outside the screen were also puzzled, not understanding that this Thor would have such doubts. Odin replied calmly, "Why do you ask that, Thor?" The blonde boy frowned slightly and said, "Wanaheim, Yulfheim, Nidavil. Except for the countries that are hostile to us, there are Asgard warriors guarding them. Although we helped Midgard defeat the giants of Jotunheim, the humans there are weak, and there is no guarantee that they will not be invaded by other races in the future. The Nine Realms are only connected by the World Tree, but there are more than 9 realms in the universe." Liuji on the side opened her small mouth slightly, looking shocked. In her heart, there has never been the concept of anyone daring to invade the world guarded by Asgard. And isn't the world on the World Tree the whole world? How do you hear Thor mean that there are many worlds besides this? Odin has a hint of appreciation in his eyes when he hears this. Although he wanted to hide this secret, Thor was able to keenly sense that something was wrong, which made him even happier. Inside the Stark building, Tony Stark looked at Loki, who was shocked again, and said, "Is your Asgard a cosmic agent organization? Why are there so many secrets?" Loki couldn't help being embarrassed, but immediately pretended to be disdainful and said, "That's a powerful performance." Tony smiled dismissively. "Don't act like Thor." Loki was furious. "Who is this earthling insulting?" "You step back." Odin looks up slightly, and orders the surrounding Asgard guards to leave. At this time, he looked at his daughter again and said, "And Liu Oji, you go down too. You are not fit to know this secret." The girl's eyes showed a hint of unwillingness, but she still didn't dare to contradict her father, and left with an unhappy expression. Thor frowned slightly, and directly expressed his thoughts. "Father, this is not good. Liu Oji's character is inherently sensitive, so there will be a gap. You should let her listen." Off-screen, Loki's heart skipped a beat. At this moment, he suddenly envied his other self. At least the brother knows himself and cares about himself. "I definitely know my daughter's temperament." Odin shook his head slightly, then said meaningfully, "But because of this, I can't tell him about it. Because sometimes taking the initiative to break in and knowing the break-in are two different things." After hearing this explanation, Thor didn't continue to refute, waiting for his father to tell the secret. At this moment Odin suddenly sighed and looked out the window. There is Midgard, which is the direction of the earth. After a few seconds, he turned his head, looked at Thor with deep eyes, and slowly spoke the truth. Actually back then, Asgard's army did not voluntarily withdraw from Midgard. 011 The name of Sorcerer Supreme. As soon as these words came out, countless observers who knew the existence of Asgard showed puzzled eyes. And in the sealed dimension fragments, Hela thought of something, and then showed a mocking sneer. She thought she should have guessed the answer. Didn't you take the initiative to leave? Why? Thor was even more puzzled when he heard this answer. At this moment, the screen suddenly stopped. In the next second, the shocking voice appeared again. Trigger question. Excuse me, why did Odin leave the Earth with the army instead of choosing to rule? A. He is too old, his divine power has declined, and he is no longer suitable for ruling more planets. B. There was a crisis within Asgard at that time. C. Because of a woman. D. He discovered that there are more terrifying problems inside the Earth. When the fourth option came out, all the Eternal Clansmen were shocked at the same time. Ding. Respondents are randomly selected. After the selection, the respondents for this question are Ronan the Accuser, Talos the Skrull General, Groot, the descendant of the Colossus clan, Loki. Chat room. Collector, what a beautiful day. I didn't expect there to be survivors of the exterminated Flora Colossus family. I will offer a bounty of 10 million common currency to buy the last Flora Colossus family. Also remember, I want to live. If anyone kills it, I will also offer a reward for its pursuit. Quill, 199,999 Universe. I'll take over this job. Yondu, Quill, you're there. Come back to the spaceship for me, or it won't be so simple when I catch you. Quill, bumpy. Red light star. Rocket comforted and patted Groot, who was several times taller than himself. He never expected that a lucky opportunity to answer a question would bring disaster. He may be powerless against the terrifying Collector. However, if anyone dares to take away his family, then he has to ask whether the blaster in his hand agrees. Inside the Stark building, Loki smiled excitedly at first, but then frowned again. Although there is an opportunity, it is still very difficult to answer correctly. First he ruled out answer C. Because of a woman. This is outrageous. Odin is not lustful, and even if he wants to marry another, his mother may not object. This must be the wrong answer. After thinking about it, he ruled out the answer A again. As the Prince of Asgard, he knows some secrets. The Azoprotos is not like other races. As the body ages, its strength will decline. Quite the opposite. The Azoprotos are getting stronger with age. Odin, who is about to die of old age, can definitely beat himself in 5 prime years. Therefore, A, like C, is definitely a wrong answer. Finally, he thought for a while and ruled out B. He really didn't know if there was one. But in contrast, he is more inclined to choose D. There is a big problem of terror in the Earth. This one also looks the most reasonable. After thinking about it in his heart, Loki quickly answered. Ding. Loki chooses answer D. Hela, a little clever, but not much. Loki, what do you mean? Do you know the truth? Ronan, tell the truth you know, and I can promise you a request. Hela, a stupid person like you can still get the title. Is the current galaxy in power? Ronan, woman, I will let you know what happens when you piss me off. Deadpool, come on, you're really stupid. You never thought that as soon as Hela said it, other people would know about it, and you would choose a hammer. Carol, Universe 199,999, Ronan, you don't seem to have grown much after all these years. Ronan, Kree traitor, you won't be arrogant for long. Carol, sure, you wouldn't have dared to say that 17 years ago. Ding. Ronan the Accuser chooses answer B. In the space battleship, Ronan showed confidence in his eyes. He doesn't need the answer from that bitch at all. In his opinion, except for the great Kree Empire ruled by supreme wisdom, no country can escape internal troubles. So B must be correct. After getting this reward, it will definitely be easier to find power gems. When the time comes, I must take that traitorous bitch with broken limbs and bring her back. Ding. Daros chooses answer A. Ding. Groot chooses answer C. After all the respondents have chosen, the answers will be announced. The answer to this question is C because of a woman. As soon as the correct answer came out, countless people's jaws dropped. Odin left the Earth because of a woman. Is this him? Even a third-rate cosmic novel can't write such a plot. Thor is even more confused. Did father find himself a stepmother on Earth? But at this moment, the eternal people on Earth let out a long sigh of relief. It was a false alarm. How could Odin discover the secret of the Celestial Group? Analyzing rewards. Analysis complete. Reward, Ancestral Bloodline. Collector, increase the bounty to 300 million. Quill, damn it, don't you have to worry about it for the rest of your life after this vote is done? Gamera, stupid looter, guess why the Collector raised the bounty so many times? Quill, isn't it the return of the blood to the ancestors, becoming a 100% pure Flora Colossus family, which means it is even rarer? This analysis makes little sense to me. Yondu, I really should get you back, or you'll embarrass me. Quill, Yondu, when did you learn to be yin and yang? Yes, Yondu. Stupid. That Groot has become stronger because of his blood returning to his ancestors. You are looking for death. Do you think the words Colossus of Flora are an exaggeration? Quill. Inside the Stark building, looking at the conversation in the chat room, Loki was almost going crazy with jealousy. He didn't expect the correct answer to be missed by a tree man. Such a reward. If it was me, I would go back to my ancestors and become the oldest giants of Jotunheim, so I wouldn't need to flirt with Thanos. He hammered the ground hard. Hateful. How could the answer be a woman? He refuses to accept it. At this moment, the picture began to flow again. Odin's eyes flickered unnoticed, as if recalling something bad. After a while, he sighed a long time, and said helplessly, "Because of a woman." Thor frowned. Such an answer was completely unexpected. However, he doesn't think it's a love affair. Then asked again, "Who is she?" Odin's eyes became a little fierce, and he slowly said a name. "Her name is Ancient One, also the owner of Kamartaj, the current Sorcerer Supreme." 012 Dormammu? The Ancient One is the devil! Exclamation mark. Hell! Hearing Odin's answer, Mephisto narrowed his eyes slightly. The next second he showed a ferocious smile. He originally thought that the two were an alliance, but now it seems that the relationship between Asgard and the Earth is also very delicate. It was a pleasant surprise. Kamartaj. All the secret magicians all showed surprised eyes at this moment. Odin actually retreated because of the Ancient One magician? Meditation room. Caecilius looked incredible, although he knows that Ancient One is powerful. But Odin is the god king of Asgard. Once the gun of eternity is released, it will definitely hit the enemy. Impossible. Caecilius roared inwardly, absolutely not believing that Ancient One could defeat Odin. There must be more secrets in it. Maybe the two reached some agreement. Otherwise, the chance of success of my plan is absolutely zero. He couldn't accept that possibility. Chat room. Surti, Kamartaj. Ancient One? Haha. I didn't expect Odin to be afraid of a midget female magician. It seems that the day when I destroy Asgard is coming soon. Ebony Moore. TSK. I didn't expect the famous Odin God King to be afraid of an Earth magician. I am a little disappointed. Delos, Dark Titan, your subordinates are too low level. This behavior seems a bit mentally retarded. Thor, father, is this true? Before he could answer, Odin in the picture had already spoken. After Asgard defeated the giants of Jotunheim back then, I wanted to take advantage of the trend and arrange the soldiers to stay on Earth to protect them. After all, because of the existence of the World Tree, the 9 realms are connected with each other through a special gap. Maybe there will be monsters from the Flame Kingdom and Hades accidentally coming to Midgard. And according to the records, Kamartaj is only responsible for maintaining the mysterious threat from the real world to other dimensions. But Odin paused, sighed. I didn't expect that Midgard's Sorcerer Supreme would not allow it. Thor didn't care about the beautification in his father's words. He just said curiously, "Did you fight that Sorcerer Supreme?" "There is only his own son here," Odin said without hesitation. "I fought with Ancient One in the Norwegian Sea." At first, I thought this would be an easy battle. According to past experience, the caster's protective magic was restrained by Gungnir. But I didn't expect. Odin's eyes showed the color of memory, and he sighed. Ancient One's secret technique not only comes from Mephisto in various dimensions, but what's even more bizarre is that her mana is constantly flowing and you can't see the end. Combined with her mirror image spell, although it cannot completely defend against Gungnir, it can greatly weaken the strength. "So you lost?" Thor couldn't help asking. Odin shakes his head. "That's not true. After all, it's not a battle to the death. Working hard will only make others take advantage. Ancient One and I knows that well." Dark Dimension. Dormammu's head was shaking with flames, and his mood was very disturbed. All the constantly mana was stolen from me. And those powerful secret techniques. He heard that this woman went whoring all kinds of things for nothing, and she didn't pay the price at all. She was simply a devil. However, he did not reveal these secrets in the chat room. He is a majestic master of the Dark Dimension. Unlike Mephisto, he still needs face. At this moment, the corner of Odin's mouth twitched, and his tone became a little strange. "Thor, you must also remember that in the future, you must not make enemies with Sorcerer Supreme. Every Sorcerer Supreme controls the Time Gem, which is simply the most difficult existence in the universe to kill. More importantly, I suspect that they may be able to peek into the future." Thor looks puzzled. "Why do you say that, father?" Odin once again clearly recalled the events of the year, frowning and saying, "Because I asked her back then, why not let Asgard guards guard Midgard? After all, Kamartaj's duty is to prevent other dimensions from invading. And her answer is, for the future." TVA. Mobius looked at the female judge and asked, "Did the Ancient One ever create a branch of time?" The female judge glanced at Mobius faintly. "Are you going to catch her, or am I going to catch her?" Mobius smiled sarcastically and said, "Then you can't watch her tamper with the sacred timeline." The female judge sighed, "Although I don't know why, she didn't actually create a time branch." Mobius's smile froze instantly. His eyes filled with shock. "This is even scarier." "Okay, 013 whoever named Mjolnir is Thor." Holy place number 2. Thanos' purple face is extremely gloomy at this moment. I estimated wrong. He calculated the strength of Ancient One based on the former Sorcerer Supreme record recorded by Titanstar. But if Odin is not lying, the power of Ancient One is much higher than he thought. What makes him even more uncomfortable is, he had sent Loki to Earth with the Mind Gem, and the Chitauri army had invaded. The gem may well have fallen into the hands of the Ancient One. Mind, space, time, trouble. But Thanos was not discouraged. He has experienced several desperate situations in his life, and this is not the worst one. And now there's reality, power, and the soul gem out there. Just get the first two gems and the tables turn. After all, reality plus power is the most powerful combination among all infinite gems. History Stark Mansion. Loki's face turned pale in an instant, terrified in his heart. Ancient One, Sorcerer Supreme. Father can't beat it either. Who can tell him why the world has become like this? Shouldn't the Earth be a barren place? At this moment, Loki felt extremely regretful. Why didn't Thor in his own world discover the abnormality back then? If this is the Thor on the opposite side, I will definitely know the horror of the Earth. Also invade the Earth to become king? He wouldn't dare to give him to Thanos as courage. Do not care. He made a quick decision in his heart. As soon as the video is over, he turns back immediately. Chat room. Thor, haha, I knew my father would not lose. Tony Stark, I really envy you can live so happily. Deadpool, bro Thor, honestly I can't wait to be your brother. Thor, see, Loki, only you feel bad about me all day long. Loki, idiot, I won't be surprised if you lose your Hummer someday. I beg you to learn from another self. It is also the father who tells the history, and people can discover the hidden secrets. Thor, you seem to have a lot of grievances, but you didn't realize it. Loki froze off screen. Why is this Thor not stupid anymore? He just beat me up, right? Boom. The golden thunder intertwined screen dimmed again, and the blue thunder lighted up again. It is still the treasure house of Asgard. Odin takes Thor and Loki's hand and laughs. Only one of you can ascend to the throne. But you two are destined to be kings. As his voice fell, time began to move forward rapidly. The two immature teenagers are also starting to grow up. Thor is training hard every day, honing his fighting ability, without any relaxation, and gradually growing into a fighter. Loki learns magic from Queen Frigga, but he doesn't care much. The only thing he is good at is phantom magic. Definitely, as the Prince of Asgard. He also needs to learn melee combat with Heimdall from time to time. In the blink of an eye, the two have reached the age of adulthood. On this day, Asgard shines brightly in the universe, and the world tree is fully revealed under the urging of Odin's divine power. Looking from the universe, Asgard looks even more shocking. And in God's domain, at the moment fairies are flying in the sky, and the spirits of light in Alfheim keep dropping flower petals. Flags are flying on the ground, and the temple of huge amounts of Odin is full of people from Asgard, as well as envoys from some countries in the 9 realms. Today, it's the day when the two princes conferred the gods. Deadpool, Thor, you are my half-brother. Whoever scolds you, I will fight him. Thor, oh, you don't have to. I'm a guy who likes to make friends. Deadpool, let me ask one more question. Do you like to spend money on your friends? Quill, dude, your interstellar map is too short. I can see the handle of the gun. By the way, let me also ask Thor, do you still lack friends? Thor, haha, definitely missing. Quill, so do you really like spending money on your friends? Thor, inside the Stark building. Tony shook his head and stopped paying attention to the conversation of some fools in the chat room. He turned to look at Loki and asked doubtfully, Asgard is so brilliant, why should you stare at what you consider to be a barren earth? What can't be enjoyed by being a second prince? However, after he finished asking, he found that Loki's face was even worse. But Tony realized right away that it wasn't necessarily because of what he said, because Loki from at the moment is gritting his teeth and staring at the screen. Boom. As the spear of eternity hits the ground, a golden thunderbolt shines brightly above Asgard. The temple also became quiet. At this moment, everyone looked at God King Odin with fanatical eyes. On the altar, Odin nodded slightly, the divine power spread like a wave, and he didn't say loudly until a few seconds later. Mjolnir. Boom. In an instant, there was another violent thunder. The next moment, the blue thunder in the sky erupted, and a bucket-thick lightning fell in front of Odin, and then turned into a silver-grey hammer. A large number of sophisticated lunar runes flash on it. It is Mjolnir. That is, at the moment, Odin looked at his people and messengers, and made a majestic voice. Today, my twins, whoever lifts Mjolnir is Thor. 01 for cheating. Chat room. Secret guest. Interesting. I actually had the opportunity to meet God Chosen once. This comparison is really a miracle. Tony Stark, God's Chosen. According to the Nordic mythology, shouldn't it be the world tree that gave birth to the godhead, and then you become gods? Sif, that's just a myth. Fandral, you have to distinguish reality. People of Midgard, only the great god King Odin can directly confer gods on others. Vostag, the father of God is in charge of all divine powers. Luna Kongzu, 199,999 Universe. TSK. What a big tone. Odin's method of training his subordinates is really powerful. Why not go to the god realm of Thebes to become the god lord? Off-screen he didn't say a word. It would be great if this group of people had their brains out. He didn't care what the Asgardian warrior said, he just wanted to be angry. Thor, Luna? What kind of god is this? I remember your absence from the pantheon. Zeus, haha, Thor, you are too young to know. The god realm of Thebes has long been expelled from the dimension below reality by the first sorcerer supreme, Agamotto. The sun god Ra was beaten into a hypnotic sleep, and it is estimated that there is enough chaos in it now. These Egyptian gods belong to the group of gods who got along the worst. If I were this Luna, I would be embarrassed to talk in the chat room. Khonsu, at least it is more shameful than the unclean god who keeps seeds everywhere. Zeus, you are not even a god. Khonsu, you forget it? Exclamation mark. It's ridiculous. Why don't you ask the dimension Mephistos if you count? Off-screen. Seeing that Zeus was not replying, Khonsu sneered and said nothing more. SHIELD. Nick Fury was numb looking at the screen in the chat room. Before that, he thought that the so-called gods of Asgard were just stronger aliens. But what's going on now? It is also true that the Greek and Egyptian gods belong to him. And according to what Zeus said, the Egyptian gods were on the earth before. And the even scarier sounding dimension Mephisto, and the Sorcerer Supreme, who banishes gods and monitors dimensions. Damn fool. What happened to the ancient earth is far from what is written in the history books. Siberia. Somewhere in an abandoned power station. Grave, the Skrull who has already started preparing for the rebellion, is sweating profusely at the moment. The composition of the earth is too complex. Not to mention occupation, at the moment he wanted to escape the planet with the Skrulls. What are the Kree in comparison? By the beach, Thor scratches his head in bewilderment. By the way, isn't it my ritual of becoming a god? Why did everyone start scolding again after chatting? It really doesn't give me any face. But it doesn't matter, immediately my heroic demeanor will appear in front of everyone. Boom. Two huge metal gates tens of meters high opened, making a loud bang. Thor and Loki walked out from the inside, walked left and right along the golden staircase to the altar amidst the cheers of the crowd. Soon, the two came to stand in front of Mjolnir at the same time. Thor smiled confidently, and said, Loki, you are too weak and unruly. The position of Thor is not suitable for you. Be honest and wait for your father to grant you other priesthood. Loki maintained an elegant smile, and said gently, I am indeed not as good as my eldest brother, but who can say for sure about fate? He definitely wants to try. That's Thor. It is the most powerful priesthood in Asgard besides the father of god Odin. Thor is not worried. In his eyes even 100 Loki cannot lift Mjolnir. Soon, as Odin oscillated the eternal spear again, the metal ground of the altar suddenly had a rune of Luni lit up, making it indestructible. Odin looked back and forth at the two sons, and said, Loki first. Hearing this, Loki's eyes showed a hint of surprise. Thor didn't care. I'm starting, father. After Loki finished speaking, suppressing the impatience in his heart, he calmly walked in front of Mjolnir, then knelt down on one knee, holding the cold handle of the hammer with both hands. The next second, he took a deep breath, mobilized his whole body strength and magic power, and pulled it up. In an instant, huge amounts of power burst out, but Mjolnir didn't move at all. But Loki snorted, almost dying. However, he was not discouraged. The scene in front of him was within his expectations. The next second, green Luni runes light up on Loki's two wrists, and that represents power. The trial of Mjolnir did not happen suddenly, he definitely had already prepared for it. He paid a lot of money for these dozen one-time Luni runes to be enchanted for him. As for whether this counts as cheating, Loki thinks it doesn't matter. As long as Mjolnir can be lifted, under the witness of so many people, he is Thor, and Odin cannot deprive him of his divine position. As for failure, if it's a big deal, you will be scolded, and you will be locked up for more. It doesn't matter. Thor, Loki, you cheated back then. Tony Stark, so you didn't realize it was so close. Loki, hey, what do you think he can read those Luni runes? Thor, I just wasn't paying attention. Tony, I believe it again. At this time, under the blessing of the power rune, Loki is Manu again. And this time, boom. The altar made a slight roar, and trembled for a moment. Thor's expression changed suddenly, and a look of shock appeared in his eyes. He couldn't understand how Loki possessed such great power, and his 100% confidence suddenly panicked. But immediately he was relieved again. He saw Loki's smothered blushing, but there was no reaction except for the altar shaking at first. 10 seconds later, Loki exhaled in one breath, and walked aside in a daze. Although the failure was expected, he still felt a little uncomfortable. At this moment Thor laughed and patted Loki on the shoulder. It's okay, if anyone bullies you in the future, your brother Thor will support you. After speaking, he walked up confidently. Off-screen, although they knew the result, countless people still stared at the screen seriously, not wanting to miss the details. And in the Stark building, Tony looked at Loki's very ugly expression, and finally expressed his doubts. Didn't you have the consciousness of failure at that time? What are you excited about now? Loki sneered. You'll find out in a moment. 015 Hela's Contempt. In the temple, Thor walks up to Mjolnir while everyone is watching. At this moment, not only all as good people showed anticipation, even Odin was included. Thor's ability is obvious to all. Not only is the body as strong as the world tree, but also the fighting ability is innate. The first time I followed the Asgard army to suppress the rebellion of a tribe in Alfheim, I personally killed the giant leader of the opponent. At that time, Thor was only 80 years old, not even an adult. In contrast, Loki not only does not look like a royal blood, but also looks weak and does not like to fight. How can such a person be Thor? So, today's conferment of gods, everyone thinks that this is Thor's day of Thor. On the altar, Loki is keenly aware of everyone's expressions. He still had a graceful smile on his surface, but his hands hidden in the robe clenched into fists. At this time, the altar began to tremble. Thor has exerted strength. And this is just the beginning. It doesn't seem too difficult, Loki. I only exerted 2 points of strength. Thor laughed confidently, no longer holding one hand, but holding the handle of the hammer with both hands at the same time. The next second, the muscles all over his body suddenly stretched, and blood vessels protruded under the skin like tree roots. A terrifying power erupted in an instant. Boom! Exclamation mark. The metal ground, which was trembling slightly, gave out a violent roar, like thunder. If it wasn't for the blessing of the Roni runes, I'm afraid Thor's feet would pierce through the ground in an instant. Such huge amounts of movement surprised Loki. He didn't expect Thor to have such amazing power. I'm afraid I don't even have a tenth of the opponent's strength under the blessing of runes. Loki suddenly felt huge amounts of pressure flooding his heart. It turns out that Thor has surpassed himself by so much before he knew it. But in the next second, his shocked mind relaxed. Because Thor didn't lift Mjolnir at all. Tony, Thor failed at year. Sif. How is it possible? Just keep reading. Hela, what are you looking at? Watching a jerk show? Mjolnir is made of dying star cores, and it takes at least millions of tons of power to lift it with pure power. I really don't know how this idiot became Thor. Thor, just be jealous. Hela, me? Envy? This is really the best joke I've heard in 1,000 years. Odin, do you want to tell him whose hammer this is? Frigg, remember our agreement. Hela, TSK, what a good mother. Thor, all right mother. I see what she means. But so what if Mjolnir was once her weapon? A banished god but to dishonor the weapon. Now Mjolnir chooses me. Sif. Yes, Thor you are right. Hela, I really look forward to the day I meet you, Thor Odinson. Then I'll see if your mouth is as hard as a hammer. Thor, I look forward to it too, and I will use this hammer to beat you with my own hands. Hela, hey, now I'm even more curious about how you lifted the hammer. When I used all my strength, but Mjolnir didn't move at all. Thor's eyes showed unbelievable shock at first, but immediately turned into madness. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. Everyone thinks he can be Thor, even himself. He simply cannot accept the result of failure. At this moment, he no longer cares about the burden on his body. He does not listen to the wailing from his muscles and bones. He does not look at the blood in his palm. Crazy to pull out the hammer. Boom. At this moment, the ground trembles violently. Looking at Thor's ferocious appearance, Loki feels inexplicable fear in his heart. He thinks Thor is crazy. Continue to use more force. It is very likely that you will pull your arm off. Thor is indeed crazy. At this moment, the world in his eyes darkened, and his ears could not hear the sound of the outside world. But he is still not reconciled, and is frantically improving his strength. Looking at Thor's scarlet eyes, Loki quickly turned to Odin, because only the other party can stop Thor from continuing. He's worried about Thor's body, and he doesn't want him to lift Mjolnir. But the moment Loki turned his head, he saw the golden thunder in Odin's eyes flash away. At the same moment, he heard Thor's shocking roar. Give me up. In an instant, a terrifying blue thunder erupted from Thor, exuding a scalp-numbing power! The originally clear sky was covered with dark clouds at some point, and it was extremely dark. But this further highlights how dazzling and shocking Thor is, who is surrounded by thunder! That is, at the moment, the Mjolnir, which seemed to be embedded in the ground, was lifted up by Thor. At this time, the huge blue thunder retracts inward and returns to Thor's body. In the next second, an astonishing burst of divine power formed a divine armor with a cold metallic light, a red cloak, and a battle helmet with wings, which were worn on Thor. With the sound of thunder in the sky, Thor is born. But just when many people outside the screen marveled at the thrilling process of Thor's birth, in the chat room, Hela, so it's a waste who can't control his own power. At the same time, Stark Building, Loki, who originally wanted to take this opportunity to question Odin about the golden thunder in his eyes, was taken aback for a moment. 016 Destiny. Loki wondered why that Hela would say such a thing. According to his guess, Thor must be able to lift Mjolnir with the help of Odin behind the scenes. Otherwise, how could it be such a coincidence? As soon as Odin used his divine power, Thor's side was able to lift Mjolnir immediately. Although Loki knew about his blood problems, it was still a thorn in his heart. But now it seems that there are other secrets hidden. Chat room. Deadpool, this Miss Death seems to know a lot of things. It's so wordy. Thor, well, she just saw me actually lift Mjolnir, and then made up for what she said earlier. Hela, Odin, I'm starting to pity you now. But don't worry, since there is an agreement, I will not reveal your secret. However, as soon as these words came out, more people became curious in an instant. Obviously, this conferred god ceremony is definitely not as simple as it seems. Proxima Midnight, 199,999 Universe. It seems that Asgard, which claims to be a god, is not so clean. Deadpool, who can tell the truth? It's so painful. I feel like there are ants crawling on my body. Gwen Stacy, Universe 65, it's really curious. Leftover. Kang frowned when he saw this universe number. When did Spider-Woman of Universe 65 become a person related to Thor? What the hell happened to the alternate timeline? Loki, the golden divine power in your eyes flowed for a while, because of something. Off the screen, he finally couldn't help but ask. And as soon as he reminded, many people immediately remembered that in the scene just now, there was indeed a golden thunder in Odin's eyes for no reason. Luna Kongzu, Odin, you are not cheating, are you? Sif, you are blasphemy. The father of God is absolutely fair. Thor, father, is what Loki said true? Off screen, Thor's face was slightly pale, and his heart was uneasy. He just doesn't want to use his brain, not really stupid. The function back then, after being carefully played by this comparison system, obviously had a problem. The chat room fell silent, as if everyone was waiting for Odin to answer. After a few breaths, handwriting appeared in the chat room. Odin, you are indeed the real Thor recognized by the World Tree, and I can guarantee that there is really nothing to help you at this point. Your god position and your strength are all obtained by yourself. As soon as these words came out, Thor and Loki relaxed at the same time. They knew that Odin, the king of God, might cover up the truth, but he would never lie to his son. But Loki immediately realized one thing. Doesn't this mean that Odin did help Thor in other ways? His heart moved and he wanted to ask again. But thinking of his mother's appearance, he still gave up. Having this answer is enough. The others ... are not important. But, in the chat room, it was clear that someone didn't want this to end like this. Mephisto, Odin, thanks to the fact that you are still the king of gods, why are you so secretive? Could it be you who helped Thor lift Mjolnir? Ancient One, the Hell Lord is so curious. How about I help you summon the main body? How about you go to Asgard and ask yourself? Odin, the Lord of Hell is here. Asgard will definitely entertain you, and I will tell you all the details. Mephisto, you two are too polite. I just asked casually. Sorcerer Supreme, Black Magic Dimension. It seems that the relationship between Sorcerer Supreme and Asgard is not as bad as Odin said. Ancient One, the god of black magic will know if you try it. Why bother to ask around? Definitely, you can also try it together. SHIELD. Sweat dripped from Nick Fury's forehead, and he complained wildly in his heart. It's too much. How can these gangsters fight if they don't know how to chat? Consider whether the earth is good or not. Damn fool. Black Magic Dimension. Scythorn scolded Ancient One for being shameless. Unless the Earth's dimensional barrier is broken and directly erodes the real world. Otherwise, this group of Mephistos will be completely out of their own dimension, and their strength will be greatly reduced. Then it's not a door-to-door asking for trouble, but a door-to-door delivery of food. But Scythorn immediately showed a sneer. Thanks to this comparison reward, his seed has been awakened in advance. The Earth will eventually be in his pocket. Thor became Thor, and the Father of God also showed his mercy. The World Tree appears again. Under the blessing of Odin, Liu Oji became the god of tricks, and the power in her body was also transformed into divine power. However, compared to Thor's grandeur, his side seems very flat. There are no visions appearing. Off-screen, Loki gave a complicated look. Perhaps this is the best choice. As the picture says, Odin has been merciful. However, he was still not reconciled. Why must I be worse than Thor? Is it really because of blood? Or, that's how fate is? It's just that I don't know what the fate of Liu Oji in another timeline is. The screen froze here. The screen surrounded by blue thunder dims, and the other side lights up again. Inside the Asgard treasure house. After Odin finished talking about the secret of the year, he looked at Thor and sighed. My child, Ancient One speaks like this. It is obvious that there will be greater changes in the 9 realms in the future. And Liu Oji is a girl. The throne will only belong to you in the future, but at the same time all the responsibilities will fall on your shoulders. So, you must become stronger. Thor didn't look excited, but nodded solemnly. Actually, even if Odin doesn't say it, he will continue to work hard to become stronger. In his opinion, it is his duty to protect Asgard and protect his loved ones. Moreover, he originally wanted to see the scenery of the highest place in the universe. This is also the reason why he never relaxes. At this moment, he suddenly remembered his father's previous words. Knowing the active intrusion and not knowing the intrusion are two different concepts. Then he asked, "Father, you just said that Luoja will sneak away to Midgard one day?" 017 Trial of the Three Gods, Summon Mjolnir. Hearing Thor's question, Odin laughed. "It's just a guess, and I don't have a time gem to peek into the future. However, according to Luoja's personality, the probability of this is not small." Thor puzzled. "In this case, why not restrain her? She can't go to Midgard with Heimdall at all." Odin didn't answer, just showed a meaningful smile and said, "You will know when the time comes." Zeus, Odin, "You old fox, what are you thinking?" Luna Kongzu, "I smell conspiracy." Odin, "What a joke. What is the relationship between the King of God on the golden timeline and Odin on my blue timeline? Don't frame me with nonsense." Deadpool, "Great, got it." The timeline begins to advance rapidly at this moment, and Thor has also reached the age of adulthood. On this day, the world tree appeared, and Asgard was generous and bright. The temple of the Father of God is full of gods and people of Asgard. But just when many people thought it was the same as the previous function, they found that the situation was completely different. Odin stood on the altar and did not summon Mjolnir, and Luoja was standing behind him all the time. After the giant gate, only Thor appeared. When Thor walked to the altar, Odin tapped the ground with a spear of eternity. With a burst of divine power, a huge amounts of golden vortex appeared above the altar. Odin makes a majestic voice at this moment. "Thor, the trial of the three gods is about to start, but you can still turn back." Loki, the madman. "How could someone really dare to conduct the trial of the three gods?" Drax, "Oh, is it hard?" Fandral, "This is no longer a question of whether it is difficult or not, but that the death rate in the trial of the three gods is extremely high." Tony Stark, 1/10, or 100th. Sif, "So far, no one has passed." President Loki, "It's the first time I've seen such a ruthless Thor." Awesome. Thor, "Well, I can't figure out why he would do that." Hela, "There is no doubt that definitely is for the strongest. Trial of the three gods can get 3 priesthoods, and in the history of Asgard, no one has more priesthoods except Odin. But Odin is born this way. If he succeeds, he will be the first Protoss to obtain 3 priesthoods by himself. And that kind of growth potential will be extremely terrifying. Thor, you not as good as him. By the beach, Thor pales. He instinctively wanted to refute Hela's words, but at this moment he couldn't say anything. Before, when the other self showed the ability to cast spells, he didn't have any inferiority complex, and he didn't think that he was inferior to the other party. But the trial of the three gods, he didn't even dare to think about it back then. Am I really not as good as him? At this moment Thor's eyes showed a thoughtful look for the first time. Thor's face is resolute. Without any hesitation, he said, "My glory will never retreat in this life." Hearing this answer, Odin showed a look of appreciation in his eyes, nodded and said, "Then, choose the weapon you carry, my son. Remember, magic scrolls, rune artifacts, weapons forged by dwarf. You can only choose one of these." After the voice fell, Odin waved his hand, and countless beams of light flew out of the Asgard treasure house and landed on the altar. But Thor shakes his head when he sees all this. Seeing this scene, the people of Asgard in the audience suddenly looked puzzled. Same. At this moment, countless viewers outside the screen did not understand why Thor shook his head. But the next second, Thor looked in the direction of Asgard's treasure house, and stretched out his palm. "Hela, this is." Loki, "Impossible." Sif, "No way." Tony Stark, "This. I seem to have seen this bow somewhere." Ronan, "What an annoyance. What charades are you playing?" Just when many people were even more confused because of these few words. Boom. Following the sound of thunder, a group of thunder roared from afar, and precisely landed on Thor's hand. The next second, the burst of thunder dissipated and turned into a silver grey hammer. That is Mjolnir. It was summoned by Thor. PS1. There will not be too many plots in the trial of the three gods. Definitely, if you like the feedback, you can write more, and if you don't like it, you can simplify it. This is just a place for the protagonist to improve his strength, and he will officially enter Thor 1 later. Note, there is a comic in which the priesthood of the heirs of Protoss is bestowed by the World Tree. I forgot which issue, and this trial is based on this. PS2, explain the chapter review. Many people think that the immediate boss of Ancient One is the Trinity Visandi including Agamotto, but it's not actually. Her top is even more powerful. She is the eternal god. Ancient One also made a splash, not to mention Time Gem. As for such a person falling to his death, will be killed by Caecilius. It's just letting Strange take over. If she is obviously dead in the middle, but the soul appears, and the Doctor Strange on the second timeline is precisely teleported. This can also prove it sideways. 018 The shock brought by the initiative to recognize the Lord. How can this be? There was the Thor scene of the blue thunder before, and at this moment, countless viewers showed expressions of astonishment. They don't understand! They rocked! How could Mjolnir be held so easily by this Thor? How could it be called? Isn't that Thor's test of godhood? Why is there such an astonishing change in another timeline? And at this moment, nothing is more shocking than Thor originally. When he felt that he was about to die and his soul was about to be torn, he raised Mjolnir in desperation. But right now, Mjolnir is actively responding to the other party's call. And to this level, I only developed the ability after I got this hammer a long time ago. At this time, someone suddenly spoke in the chat room. Agatha. Did he already become Thor? At this moment, even with the arrogance of her sovereign high priest, she couldn't watch this scene calmly. Secret guest. This is unlikely, right? Thanos. Hela, since you were the previous owner of this hammer, do you think that's going to happen? Hela. Perhaps. Odin had privately put him in touch with Mjolnir. She didn't talk too much. In fact, she suspected in her heart that this Thor was able to pick up Mjolnir, just like the previous Thor. It was the authority bestowed by Odin. President Loki, that must be the truth. HMPH. I knew how that hypocrite Odin could let his son go into danger, so he was already prepared. Sif, the father of God would never do that. President Loki, one-sided woman, the world is more complicated than you think. In the temple, all Asgard people were shocked by the scene of summoning thunder. Liu Oji exclaimed even more. Thor, when did you get Mjolnir's approval? She knew that this weapon existed. After all, when she was a child, Odin often took the two of them to the Asgard treasury and introduced various treasures. But that's why she was so shocked. That is a weapon made from the star core of a dying planet. Isn't it something that no one can lift except the Father of God? It's outrageous to be summoned directly by Thor now. Odin on the side also showed surprise in his eyes. He originally wanted to give Thor this weapon after he returned successfully. But I didn't expect this child to be summoned directly. At this point Thor lifts Mjolnir with ease. He looked at the silver hammer body reflected in the sunlight, looked at the newborn weapon, and said in a calm tone, "Actually, I have felt its call for a long time." As soon as these words came out, all the people who didn't believe it just now couldn't help but widen their eyes. Hela was even more shocked. Don't say it's Odin cheating. This time, Thor wasn't even going to get Mjolnir's approval. Instead, the latter took the initiative to find Thor. The difference between them is a world of difference. Asgard. Odin was also shocked at this moment. Take the initiative to recognize the Lord. That was something that even Hela had never done before. It was fully approved by Mjolnir. It was surrender. The artifact is alive. That hammer must have felt something deeper. Is it will? It's the soul? Or something more shocking? Odin heaves a long sigh. The Thor over there seems to be far more special than what he saw. Holy place number 2. Thanos suddenly had a strange thought involuntarily at this moment. The opponent is not Thor in his own timeline. It seems a thing to be thankful for. But immediately Thanos laughed and shook his head to drive the unrealistic thought out of his head. He has encountered many powerful enemies in his life, and this Thor with extraordinary ability is nothing. Even on his own side, it's just a bigger trouble. Chat room. Deadpool, why don't you speak? Are you dumb? Vandal, I just feel that it is too shocking. Agatha, it's a pity. This man is not in my world. Such an excellent gene wasted. Quill, we have Thor here too, so don't despair. Agatha, low-level creature, you never know what the gap in the soul is. Off-screen. Quill looked crazy. Mad, the sovereigns are sick. The next time he talks to this bitch, she was born of a cosmic worm. Beachside. Thor smiled wryly, but couldn't refute. After all, that scene just now was too outrageous. At this time, Odin seemed to think of something, and suddenly said, have you ever heard Mjolnir's call? He thinks this is definitely not a momentary thing. Mjolnir must have observed Thor many times. Really? The next moment, he saw Thor nodded and said, it was after you told me about the battle in Midgard that I began to hear Mjolnir's vague call. As I grow up, this voice becomes more and more obvious. Until just now, Father, you summoned many treasures, but when you didn't have them, Mjolnir conveyed an idea to me. Speaking, Thor showed a helpless expression and said, it said, if I don't choose it again, it will smash the casket of ancient winters. Hearing this, Odin showed a smirk. It can only be said that this hammer is very thoughtful. Pause. Odin restores the original coercion. This is your weapon. It's okay to be early. Now, begin your trial. Thor. 019 Hell starts. Just when Loki was still thinking about the words this is your weapon, the Thor on the screen has stepped into the vortex. The angle of view of the screen is infinitely elevated in an instant. The real world disappears in an instant, and the huge amounts of world tree that has existed since the creation of the world clearly appears. It is rooted in the void, its branches are progressive, and the canopy is as lush as a galaxy. You can also vaguely see the energy of 7 colors, walking and moving in the tree like breathing. Just when countless people were shocked by the spectacular scene of the world tree and felt that they were extremely small, a leaf suddenly shines brightly. The angle of view of the screen is pulled in quickly. After a whirlwind, Thor stepped on the ground. He shook his head to get rid of the strange feeling of dizziness, and then looked around. The purpose of entering is a large number of unknown species of trees, weeds are overgrown everywhere, and there is a faint mist in the air in the distance. No sunlight can penetrate it, and the distance cannot be seen too far. Thor turned around and pushed his head to look. His expression changed slightly. Not because of the scene behind, because it is no different from the front. The one who made him look wrong was himself. The strength of raising the foot just now is not right. The dizziness just now is also not right. Based on his physique, he has already used Bifrost frequently, and no matter how long the teleportation is, he will not be dizzy. Thor raised his palm, and what he saw was a rough, calloused, scarred palm. This is not my hand. He is suffering from exercise, but the physique of the Protoss makes his body free of any scars and thick calluses, and even very beautiful. The next second, Thor opened his palm to gather a mirror to see his own face, but nothing happened. The power in his body disappeared, and the spell failed. Thor looks at his waist again. Sure enough, Mjolnir has turned into a somewhat worn-out axe. Now, he has become an ordinary, powerless woodcutter. Vostag, unbelievable. I finally know why the success rate of the trial of the three gods is 0. Sif, completely become an ordinary person. This is too exaggerated. Dwarf King, Mjolnir has also failed. It's too scary. What kind of power can change all this? Quill, so what's the point of picking a treasure to bring in? Tony Stark, because no one ever came back alive, no one knew it would happen. Frigg. In fact, the trial of the three gods at the beginning didn't include a rule for carrying a treasure. It was only added because the death rate was too high, but I didn't expect it to be like this. Nick Fury, isn't this a trial made by you Asgard yourself? Judging by your words, why don't you know anything? Loki, I really don't seem to have seen any content about the trial of the three gods in Asgard's literature. I only know that no one has ever passed it. Thor, father, you must know something. After a few breaths. Odin, what I only discovered is that the trial of the three gods is actually the trial of the world tree in essence. Tony Stark, that makes sense. It fits perfectly with the opening scene. But since this is the case, can I think that your priesthood is indeed given to you by the world tree just like in the myth? Hearing this, Sif suddenly fell into embarrassment and shock. She had refuted this person at the beginning. But now it seems that this is the truth. Odin, you're smart, Midgelian, but being a Protoss isn't that simple at all. The priesthood is indeed related to the world tree, but it is only part of it. I can only tell you that it is also very important to Asgard originally. Inside the Stark building, Tony showed complicated eyes. Therefore, Thor is not a powerful alien at all. These people are really gods. And this is another fact that disturbs him, because God is in control. But at least the Thor man is fine, although a little silly, a little arrogant. As for Loki, he finds it odd. This guy seems to be just called a god of tricks, just as stupid as his brother. What he is more worried about now are those exiled Egyptian gods. If there is no Sorcerer Supreme, will these existences return? In his opinion, there are too many evil false gods there. Tony rubbed his face hard. This feeling of tying his safety to one person made him very disturbed. Asgard. Frigg's eyes were red, and the sadness inside almost overflowed. In her view, although the time is different, the other Thor is also her child. She knew that Odin respected Thor's decision and would be proud of it. However, turning into an ordinary person's trial has no power. The chances of success are too slim. Thor has traveled a few kilometers. Although the strength is gone, this body is not bad. It can be considered young and powerful. The forest is not the kind of extremely primitive jungle, and some trails can be vaguely seen. After walking a certain distance, Thor suddenly looked at the axe in his hand. After thinking for a few seconds, he suddenly started chopping wood. Ronan, is this the best successor to Asgard ability? This forest looks dangerous, and it would be foolish to start playing the woodsman instead of looking for a way out of it quickly. Quill, I agree, the fog here looks very permeable, no cannibal witches, right? Tony Stark, on the contrary, I think this Thor is very smart. Now that the trial has begun, everything makes sense. A woodcutter, shouldn't he be chopping firewood? Steve Rogers, perhaps. The previous losers were precisely because they couldn't let go of their proud identity. At this time, a wolf howls in the distant forest. 020 woman, cabin, werewolf. The wolf howl was very clear. Thor immediately raised his head and looked over. However, he didn't see anything. The fog thickened again at some point, and the vision became very poor, only about 40 or 50 meters away. After thinking about it, Thor directly bundled up the cut wood, and then left in the opposite direction of howling wolves. If it is the original body, he can definitely ignore the danger. But not now. Even the most common wild wolf would be in danger of life. And if you encounter wolves, you will definitely die. After dozens of minutes, Thor stopped. Around him, the trees have not become sparse, and it seems that it is still deep in the forest. Going the wrong way. Thor frowned slightly. There is heavy fog in the forest, making it difficult to discern the direction. And I don't have any clues. The best choice is to walk in the direction opposite to the howling of wolves. And now the sky is getting darker and darker, and the night is coming. Maybe I should build a shelter. Otherwise, it is easy to have problems if you drive in the dark. But just when he was about to stop, A faint sobbing sound of a woman came from afar. Thor stared at the white mist, as if trying to see through something. After more than 10 seconds, he walked towards the voice. This is a trial, and it is impossible to avoid it all the time. The cry of a human being may be a clue. After walking about tens of meters, a little yellow light penetrated the thick fog. After Thor got closer, he saw a crooked but complete wooden house built in an open space not far away, and there was a black figure crying by the window. Beep beep. Thor knocks on the door a few times. The crying in the house stopped abruptly, and a woman's panicked voice came from the wooden house a few seconds later. Who is outside? Thor didn't pause at all, and said in a slightly disturbed tone, I'm a woodcutter in a village outside the forest. I didn't expect that it was foggy in the forest today, and I lost my way when I was walking back. Good lady, can you take me in tonight? As the sound fell, Thor heard a breathing sound appearing on the other side of the door, and the other party seemed to be observing him. After a few seconds, the wooden door creaked open. A woman in her 40s, with an apron squeezed on her body, and a weather-stained face said anxiously, Come on in. It's so late, you still dare to stay in the woods? Thor followed into the house, and the woman limped close the door, then reinserted the 3 latches. Thor glanced at the woman's legs indistinctly, and then looked into the room. There is no room in the wooden house. Except for a wooden bed, there is only a burning fire pit surrounded by stones and an iron can hanging from it. The file size is only a dozen square meters. It can be seen that women's lives are very difficult. At this moment, Thor put down the wood on his back, shielding his hand holding the axe, and said with a smile, Thank you so much, otherwise it would be too dangerous to be in the forest at this late hour. This bundle of wood is my thank you gift. Speaking, Thor handed out the bundled firewood to the woman. The woman suddenly said embarrassedly, No, I'm fine. It's just a one-night stay. My place is not a noble in the town. It's dirty and messy. Thor chuckled. It's nothing, I can cut some more when I leave tomorrow. As he spoke, he handed it over again. The woman showed her yellow teeth, smiled and stretched out her hand. Then thank you. The firewood at home is really not enough. However, halfway through her words, she screamed, because a head-on axe had already slashed over. Boom. The axe cut deeply into the wall of the wooden house, and the woman had fallen to the ground in fright, screaming in horror. There is no harm on her body, because it was just a temptation. Seeing this scene, Thor frowned slightly, and said to himself in a puzzled way, There is no problem. Chat room. Quill, damn it, you scared the shit out of me. Is this Thor crazy? Mantis Woman Brant, 199,999 Universe. 1 second she was laughing, and the next second she was slashing out with an axe. So scary. Drax, it must be because the pressure of the trial of the 3 gods is too great. Unfortunately, it is not a man to attack a woman. Tony Stark, I really want to see what it's like for the 3 of you to live together. Quill, why do you say that? Loki, because you all have strange brain circuits. Tony, in such a weird forest, a woman with a leg problem built a wooden house here to live. Most importantly, how dare she take in strangers after nightfall? Is this reasonable? Thor must have figured this out too, so he tried it. Drax, no, this woman is obviously fine. Off-screen, Tony's mouth twitched. He felt somewhat unable to communicate. Although the result is like this, it was really unreasonable before. Okay. However, he still couldn't figure it out. The logic of this woman's behavior is not up to him. Tony looked back at the screen. Anyway, this is another Thor problem, and I don't need to worry about it. Why do you want to live alone in a forest? Thor pulls out his axe, looks down and asks. The woman's body kept trembling, and she cried as she said, I used to be sick and was kicked out of the town. I can't go far away. I can only live secretly in this kind of place, and they will burn me to death when I go back. Thor has no expression on his face, and asks again, Then why did you dare to let me in? You don't seem very courageous. The woman suddenly showed a more fearful expression, and said tremblingly, Because werewolves will appear here at night. I can't watch you die. A werewolf? Thor thought for a while and asked again, When I didn't come, what were you crying for? The woman suddenly cried even harder, My daughter, Little Red Riding Hood, she should have come back in the afternoon, but she hasn't yet. She She must have been eaten by a werewolf. One amazing reversal. Little Red Riding Hood? Werewolf? Is there another grandma? Tony was dumbfounded. Is this the trial of the 3 gods? Why does it sound like a pirated version of Grimm's fairy tales? If so, it would be easy. Killing the werewolf. It is estimated that the trial achievement was successful. But with the bloody nature of the Asgardians, even this Thor couldn't have read the story. Maybe he would leave the forest directly without helping, and the trial would naturally fail. Maybe it's not necessarily dead yet. When did she leave? What did you ask her to do? Thor doesn't know whether this world is real or not, but he hasn't been able to get out of the forest after walking so far, but came here instead. Then, as expected, the trial must have something to do with this woman. Sure enough, upon hearing his words, the woman seemed to have grasped at straws, and quickly replied, Little Red Riding Hood went to her grandma's house to get food for the week. It took more than 2 hours to walk along the path. What to F King Grandma? At this moment Tony was sure that this was the story of the big bad wolf and Little Red Riding Hood. He was immediately disappointed. This trial is too easy, and the only difficulty may be to see if Thor can kill the werewolf with a mortal body. And Thor clearly understood what this trial was about. But after such a circle, it might as well be a werewolf rushing out of the woods at the beginning. Straightforward. Thor comforted at this time. Don't worry, maybe it's because of the fog outside that Little Red Riding Hood chooses to stay at Grandma's house overnight. Do you have a kerosene lamp here? I'll go over and take a look for you now. The woman shakes her head vigorously. No, how can I let you take risks? If Little Red Riding Hood is there, I can come back tomorrow anyway. If it's gone. Woo Tilda. The woman begins to cry again. Thor pats the woman on the shoulder. Actually, I lied to you. I'm not a woodcutter, but a hunter. If Little Red Riding Hood disappears, I will go after that werewolf. Maybe there is still a chance. Surprise appeared in the woman's eyes, but when she saw the axe in Thor's hand, she suddenly showed despair again, shaking her head and crying, "Your axe has no animal blood on it, and you have no traps." "Thank you for your kindness, Mr. Woodcutter. Now, I just ask you one thing." Hearing this, Thor froze for a moment. But immediately he seemed to be persuaded successfully, nodded and said, "You tell me." The woman wiped her tears, said with red eyes, "If Little Red Riding Hood doesn't come back before noon tomorrow, please carry me to Little Red Riding Hood's grandma's house. You know, my legs. Woo, it's all my fault. If I could walk, it wouldn't be Little Red Riding Hood who died." Tony, it's over. Thor is failing. Sif, failed? Why? This hasn't been through the storm yet. Fandral, you are a human, you know what trials of the 3 gods are, so stop talking nonsense. Tony, I definitely understand. This trial is obviously the Earth ... That is, a story in Midgard that you said was magically changed. Its core is to kill the werewolf and save Little Red Riding Hood. In other words, Thor uses his human body to kill werewolves. But if Thor gives up on trying to save Red Riding Hood tonight, it's tantamount to giving up on the trial. Magician Wang, it can only be said that it is the most difficult trial of the 3 gods in Asgard. One is the intelligence that needs to find out what the task is in a very short time. One is the courage to fight against werewolves, and to defeat the strong with the weak. Taken together, it sounds hopeless. After listening to the woman's words, Thor suddenly asked, "Is there nothing else to say?" Woman shed tears and said in pain, "Enough is enough." Thor nodded after listening, and then swung the axe again without any hesitation. This time, hit the head. Deadpool, shit! At this moment, Deadpool was the only one in the chat room who uttered a swear word, and no one spoke. But everyone else, like him, has only one thought at the moment. FK, is Thor crazy? Inside the Stark building, Loki watched in disbelief. He had thought that Thor would reject women and go out tough to save Little Red Riding Hood. It is also possible that he did not discover the purpose of the trial and chose to take the woman to Grandma's house the next day. After all, this is helping too. But he never expected that this Thor would be so violent. He chopped the woman to death with an axe. Tony on the side is also stunned. Why? If you say you don't agree, you won't agree. Why kill someone? Could it be that the brain was changed after entering the trial? At this moment Tony felt that his brain had also been hit by an axe, and he couldn't understand Thor's behavior at all. In the chat room, Quill, damn, this Thor is too fierce. Magician Wang, you call this fierce? It's violence, okay? President Loki, there is no one around. Back to nature. And the main thing is that stupid Thor failed and he was going to die. As soon as these words came out, everyone looked at the screen. But right now, the woman whose forehead was hit by the axe suddenly opened her eyes, and smiled at Thor. "What a nice little guy. How did you find out?" 0223 weaknesses. This moment, the shock brought by the woman opening her eyes was not weaker than Thor's axe just now. It was as if a thunderbolt fell into the hearts of everyone. Deadpool, damn, it's a scam. Magician Wang, what a fake corpse. She is not dead at all. Sif, this woman has big problems. Loki, this is impossible. Thor has tried it before. Quill, yeah, the woman's performance is for all to see. Tony, that's what I can't understand. How does Thor know there's something wrong with this woman? Thor stepped back without hesitation, but found that the door of the wooden house could not be opened at all, and the latch seemed to be welded dead. He didn't act rashly. Instead he looked at the revived woman cautiously. Snapped. The axe fell to the ground, and the wound on the woman's forehead healed automatically. At this moment, the woman laughed again and asked, "Tell me, how did you find out that I have a problem?" Thor thought for a while, then replied, "You have 3 flaws in total." Off-screen Tony's eyes widened. He still can't figure it out at all. "But you, Thor, came out with 3? Do you want to be so outrageous? Tell me." The woman was a little surprised. Thor carefully observed the woman's posture and possible weaknesses, and said, "First, you said that Little Red Riding Hood didn't come back this afternoon. so she might have been killed by a werewolf. But you clearly said at the beginning that werewolves would come out at night. The woman shakes her head slightly, denies, but it may also be because of the cloudy and heavy fog, so the werewolf can come out during the day. Thor nods. I know, so I have always kept this doubt in my heart. Then what about the second point? The woman asked again. Thor points to the cabin. There are no traces of wolf claws on the outside of your wooden house. It is very complete, which is not normal at all. The woman retorted. This may also be because the werewolf didn't find this place. Hearing this, Thor laughed instead. Then, how did you find out that werewolves only appear at night? Deadpool, shit, contradictory. Magician Wang, this observation is amazing. We've all been watching the picture, but no one paid attention. Tony, I did find that there were no wolf claw scars outside the wooden house, but I focused on this woman before. After all, it's strange to appear here. However, her subsequent performance and answers convinced me, but made me forget this. Sif, Thor's powers of observation are astonishing. Richard, it's amazing, and besides, he has a third point. To be honest, I haven't figured out the third point yet. I guess it should be more idealistic. Professor X, 838 Universe. But even that is amazing. Loki, now I'm just wondering what the third point is. So, what's the third point? The woman finally asked. Thor pointed to the axe on the ground, and said quietly, the third point is that you reminded me. You said, I'm just a woodcutter with truly an axe and no traps. Speaking of this, Thor relaxes and laughs. At that moment, all the puzzles in my mind were cleared up. I suddenly realized that the moment I teleported over, not only my body was changed, but my identity was also changed. In this trial, my role is woodcutter. How can a woodcutter who chops wood beat a werewolf at night? Hearing this, the woman refuted again. But I didn't ask you to save Little Red Riding Hood at night. No, this is a trap, or perhaps a cleverness. Thor said bluntly, because the more you say that, the more you will misunderstand This is the task of the trial. After all, the trial of the three gods is extremely dangerous, so doing this is the most appropriate, and most reasonable. But this again contradicts my identity. Pause. Thor spread his hands and said, these 3 points may be released alone, but they are not enough to confirm that you have a problem. But together. If I still can't find out, then my brain has been stolen by Liu Oji. Tony Stark. All I can say is that this Thor is really terribly careful, and he didn't miss all the details. Richard, wonderful, haven't heard such reasoning in a long time. President Loki, honestly, it's hard for me to relate him to Thor. King Magician, this kind of mental power, perhaps the spellcasting ability he showed before comes from this. Quill, unbelievable. Can someone explain it to me again? I don't understand. Gamera, it's really hard to imagine how your teammates tolerate you. Asgard. At this moment, Odin's eyes showed a look of exclamation. As expected of the trial of the three gods, it was indeed dangerous. But the other Thor is even better. At this moment Thor suddenly asked, if I agree, what will be the consequences? As soon as these words came out, many people showed curiosity. The woman laughs. This body is a wolf in human skin, and there is no Little Red Riding Hood and grandma. If you agree to the request, the place where you will carry me will be the hunter's residence. Werewolves can't enter there, but lying on human backs obviously doesn't count. During the day, the hunter will go out to hunt and kill the werewolf who is hiding in hiding. But when he comes back at night, the eye hiding in the room can kill him after he falls asleep. As for you as a tool man, once you enter the hunter's room, you will definitely be swallowed by the eye lying on your back. What if I go out at night and plan to fight the werewolf to the death? Thor asked again. The woman shrugs her shoulders. That would be even worse. You will be torn to pieces by wolves. The voice fell. The woman's body rippled like the surface of water, and then dimmed. There is only one voice left in the air. This trial represents wisdom. Congratulations on passing. Now, go to the next game, Thor Odinson. A moment. The whole room dissipates and turns into a vortex with huge amounts of it. 023 Abnormal girl. Thor looks thoughtfully at the place where the woman disappeared. He had always thought that the trial of the three gods was a trial realm evolved from the Asgard god realm, and everything in it was false. But now it seems that I am obviously wrong. The woman just now definitely has a soul, or an existence of self. Thor, Heimdall, do you know who that woman is? At this moment, he was full of curiosity. He believes that the other self will not be wrong. However, Heimdall, sorry Prince Thor, I don't know. Loki, but can't your eyes see everything in the 9 realms? Hela, Humphrey, just a gatekeeper, how could he have that kind of power? Heimdall, that leaf on the world tree is not in the real dimension, and my eyes can't penetrate it. But Hela, your shards are in my eyes, you better be honest. Hela, I hope you can still talk to me so stubbornly in 100 years. Asgard. Odin completely ignored the words in the chat room, his eyes thoughtful. At this moment, he felt that he should have guessed the identity of the woman. Thor glanced at the huge vortex that was exactly the same as before, and stepped into it without any hesitation. But this time, the dizziness did not come. Boom. There are bursts of thunder in the sky, and the air seems to be trembling. Thor opens his eyes and sees that this is the rim of a crater. The sky is covered with dark clouds, and thunder rolls. But this is not important. At the moment, he found that his body had changed back, and the familiar power was flowing again in his body. He opened his palm, and a ball of light emerged naturally. No problem, spellcasting ability is back. So, what is the test of this level? Thor looked at the barren land under the volcano, and then at the cloud-covered sky. After more than 10 seconds, his brows were slightly frowned. To be honest, he can't see any clues at all, but at this moment, a voice full of anger sounded. Damn it! Why am I so unlucky? This is a trial that I have worked so hard to conceive for 600 years. It's all in vain. It's all in vain. The next second, a girl in gauze appeared above the crater out of thin air, staring fiercely at Thor. Hey, you're here to find fault. Hearing these inexplicable words, and then looking at the girl with puffy cheeks, Thor was immediately taken aback. What's the situation? Who is this woman? Is this a new trial? And at this moment, not only he was blinded, but countless audiences outside the screen were also blinded. Quill, what kind of bizarre beginning is this? Is it still like the last trial to find out which sentence is true and which sentence is false? Thor, it's kind of weird. I feel like this kid is really angry. Deadpool, why are you talking so much? Such a cute little sister is still passing the fart, so I just stayed. Xinyan, where did the mental illness come from? It is a miracle that he survived to death. Deadpool, no way, your father won't let it. Xinyan, bitch, you managed to piss me off. Gamera, leave this psychopath alone. Nebula. Off-screen Tony shook his head. With this Deadpool around, the tropic keeps going off track. Isn't the most important thing now is to find clues from the girl's words, and then deduce what kind of trial this time is? His conceited IQ crushes most people in this world. But just now Thor paled. This made him very uncomfortable. Although he is not participating in the trial by himself, this time he must find the key clues before the other party. Thor just froze for a moment, but immediately came back to his senses. What do you mean by that? I don't seem to have offended you. He wanted to say something, but as soon as the words came out, the girl gritted her teeth immediately, and then said in a panic, you didn't offend me. Did you? Okay, Thor Odinson, the trialist of the three gods, I remember you. The next second, a scene that he couldn't understand appeared. After speaking, the girl stomped her feet angrily, and suddenly a huge vortex appeared exactly the same as the previous 2 times. Thor was holding back all the cliches in his mouth, and he didn't know what to say. Seeing that he didn't move, the girl said even more angrily, your trial is over, hurry up and leave. This sentence stunned countless people, and Tony was struck by lightning. In order to find clues, his eyes almost popped out. As a result, you said this? ? What's the situation? How did the trial end before it even started? Could it be an illusion trial? Thor was taken aback for a moment, but as if thinking of something, he immediately frowned. Sorry, it's impossible for me to cheat. Hearing this, the girl was taken aback for a moment. Then the short man who was only 1.3 meters clenched his fists tightly, trembling all over, and kept slurring words between his teeth. I am not angry. My sister will scold me. I am not angry. I'm so angry. The next second, the girl appeared behind Thor in an instant, knocking Thor into the vortex. 024 become God. Asgard. Seeing this scene, Odin not only did not have doubts about at the moment in his eyes, but was determined in his heart. The woman before, the girl now. There is no doubt that this is the 3 goddesses of fate in the records. The so-called trial of the 3 gods should be the trial of the 3 goddesses. It's just that they didn't expect that they had been hiding in the world tree. That is, at the moment, the picture he saw at the moment he became the king of gods reappeared involuntarily in Odin's mind. When the divine power was added to his body, his field of vision changed, and he saw the shadow for an instant, or rather the few outlines hidden in the shadows. Although it may not be a second, but he will never forget it in his life. Odin shook his head, banishing the image from his mind. That is a future matter. Right now, Thor is more important. If he guessed correctly, there should be only the trial of the goddess named Udal left. If successful, witness the history of Asgard like never before. Thor stepped out of the vortex with a familiar sight in his eyes. The magnificent temple, gorgeous banner, as well as the excited Liu Ojin and the God King with eyes full of admiration. Thor turns his head and looks down. That's the people and warriors of Asgard gathered under the altar. Everyone's expressions are first shocked, but after less than a second, it completely turned into a frenzy. In an instant, a huge wave broke out in the quiet temple, and everyone cheered in unison. Thor, Thor, Thor. Amid all the attention, Thor has a kind of enlightenment. He takes a step forward, holding high. Mjolnir. A moment. Boom! ! In the clear sky, countless golden thunderbolts emerged from the sky. They converged densely towards the center, and then formed a waterfall-like river of lightning that slanted down and poured into Thor. A terrifying storm of divine power suddenly erupted from Thor, and a transparent wave quickly passed Asgard, causing the world tree to appear agitated. At this moment, Vanaheim, Yulfheim, Nadavil, Haia Hades, Muspelheim. All the 9 realms are shaking. All spiritually powerful beings, all saw the golden thunder walking in the sky, exuding amazing divine power. In the temple, golden light blooms in Thor's eyes. At the moment of becoming a god, he saw Surti in the land of fire roaring unwillingly. I saw the dark elves who were expelled in the dark and cold depths. I saw the angry woman in the shards. I saw the dwarf king beating the meteor. I see the ancient magician looking up at himself from a towering snow mountain in Midgard. I saw the Frost King with eyes full of fear on the planet Ice. At the moment, wherever his eyes go, there is an instinctive desire to surrender. Sif, such a terrifying cameo. I have never seen it before. Tony Stark, this ... Is this really Thor? Magician Wang, a palpitating sense of oppression. Loki, Thor, by contrast, you were Thor without even 1,000th of the other you. Fandral, this is probably the scariest god ever in Asgard. Hela, this ... This kind of power, why is it so powerful? Question mark. Tony Stark, can't understand. President Loki, you are definitely incomprehensible to a human being. Tony, stupid, I mean can't understand this trial. The first game is indeed very dangerous. The second game was weirdly passed directly. But, trial of the 3 gods. No matter how you look at it, there should be a third level. Sif, this. No one has ever passed the trial of the 3 gods, and no one knows exactly how many trials it will take. Tony, I don't think it makes sense. Even if it passes, Thor still looks too powerful. Collector, your name is Tony Stark, it's rare to see such a smart human being. Are you interested in selling your brain? I will give you a good price. Off-screen Tony's mouth twitched suddenly. What hobbies does this collector have? In a moment I want to buy a corpse, in a moment I want to buy a tree. This time, he actually took a fancy to his own brain. So perverted. But Tony changed his mind. Since this person said so, does it mean that he guessed right? At this time, someone had already asked questions for him. Quill, you mean, Thor is still in trial? Collector, definitely. Looking at the universe, how can powerful power be obtained so easily? And I think now is the most critical time in the trial. 025 I refuse. Asgard Temple. As the raging divine power calmed down, Thor's clothes had turned into golden armor, and behind him was a grinning black cloak. In his hands, Mjolnir is entwined with golden thunder and crimson flames. His eyes are shining with silvery white light. At this moment, he seems to have stepped out of a myth. Boom. The spear of eternity hit the ground again. Odin said in an incomparably majestic voice, the new god returns. Under the witness of the world tree, Thor Odinson, from this moment on is the god of fire, thunder, and wisdom. And he will also be the next king of Asgard. As the voice fell, all the people of Asgard under the altar immediately knelt down and offered their loyalty. On the altar, Thor frowned imperceptibly when he saw this. This is a bit too fast and too sudden. He glanced at Odin, but found that the other party nodded towards him, his eyes full of affirmation. Although Thor felt a little strange, he responded by waving Mjolnir again according to his father's wishes. Following the sound of thunder, cheers erupted again. Today, Asgard ushered in their new king. Surti, HMPH, it's really too fake. How could that Odin guy give up the throne? Hela, no. On the contrary, Odin may not have much life left. If Thor really passes the trial of the 3 gods, he may get 3 priesthoods at once. With such prestige and potential, he is definitely the best heir. Passing the position under such circumstances will also make Thor gain a lot of hearts. Loki, so this scene is real? Quill, but didn't the collector say that this is still a trial? Gamera. He is not sure, and if you continue to read, you will know. Inside the Stark building, Tony sighed. So many of them can't tell the real from the fake while observing and discussing outside, so how will Thor feel on the screen? If it's true, that's fine. But if it is false, then this trial is too terrible. By contrast, another Thor lifting Mjolnir is Thor, so much more comfortable. However, presumably the gap between the two will become larger because of this. Night, Thor leaves the banquet and comes to the edge of the galaxy. He looked at the river falling into nothingness and was slightly lost in thought. The ordination of the King of the Gods is not only a major event in the 9 realms, but also the major empires in the galaxy will send people to send blessings. He won't have an easy time in the future. Even Liu Oja was called away by her mother, and she was told to observe etiquette and show her demeanor during this time. I don't know what to think of. Thor's eyes are bright again. In an instant, the outline of the world tree appeared again in his eyes, and he could even clearly see the veins of some leaves. Is it possible to do this already? Thor seemed to be sighing, and then left the side of the galaxy. Second day, third day ... Fifth day. A few days ago, the kingdom of the Elves of Light, the Vanir Protoss, and even the Nova Empire and the Sovereign Empire have sent envoys to deliver gifts, and they are staying here, waiting for the ceremony 2 days later. But today is different. The one who came to congratulate is very special. It is Kamartaj, the ancient magician organization stationed in Midgard. A golden spark appeared in the temple when the light of Asgard came to the peak of the day. When the portal opened, a fat man walked out with 4 magicians in monk robes. After some polite words, Kamartaj sent out his gift. Those are for advanced secret art books. At this time Magician Wang smiled politely. Kamartaj is not as rich and powerful as other organizations. I hope His Royal Highness Thor will not be offended. Thor smiles and responds, definitely no, this is exactly what I needed. Thanks a lot to Kamartaj for the gift. For the next few days, magicians are invited to stay here first. Wang nodded, indicating yes. After sending away Kamartaj's magician, Thor stroked the heavy spellbook with his hands, and sighed in his eyes. As he said, these spellbooks are exactly what he lacks. After all, Asgard's magic is still inferior to Kamartaj, and when he learns it, his strength will be raised again, and he can sit on the position of God King more firmly. It can only be said that it is really so timely. 6th day. I heard that the giants of Jotunheim have also come to Asgard. This time they expressed their surrender and are willing to become a subsidiary of Asgard like other worlds. The 7th day. The dwarf king came with a long sword, which is a more powerful weapon than Mjolnir. The 8th day. The Kerry Empire came to celebrate with Surtees' head, and showed the intention of alliance. 9th day. The Forest of Witches selects the most beautiful witches of this generation and dedicates them to the future King Thor. The 10th day. Fiery divine fire rises in the new temple. In the eyes of the major forces in the universe, the affiliates of the 9 realms, and the people of Asgard, Thor sits on the throne. And that beautiful witch, his future wife, holding a golden crown with 2 huge double horns, he came to him and bowed his head and knelt down. At this time, Odin's thick and benevolent voice sounded, my best son, next will be your era. Now, take your crown and become the king of God. So, under the eyes of everyone, Thor said lightly, I reject. A moment. The divine fire goes out, the golden temple collapses, and the world collapses. If you like this audiobook, subscribe the channel for more videos like this and join my Patreon if you want to support me. Leave some comment and let me know if you guys like this story, or you have a web novel you like and want to hear its audiobook. I will be happy to create them for you. Please like, share, and leave a comment on the video.